be sheltered under a date.
Yes, I agree. Yep.
It should be a red in the left-hand corner.
It is. I was just trying to turn the volume all the way up.
I did that. Just a second. Talking. Okay, we'll do roll call.
Roll call. Lori,
Yes, here.
Jeff,
Yes.
Eva, Craig,
Yes.
Evelyn,
Yes.
Dave Edgington,
Yeah.
Chris,
Yes.
and then we have Julia is absent. Dave Giroux,
Absent.
absent. Okay, we also have in the room, can we go around in the room?
Start with Phil.
Phil.
Yeah.
John Gilmore.
John Gilmore, Lynn Chrisley,
Lisa Hober. Kim Jonah.
Nancy Kavanaugh. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go a little off agenda here because we have public, and we just want to make sure the public understands how the meetings are run and how we interact or don't. So we're going to say if you want to interact as public, please begin your comments with your full name and address. Please address the chair. It helps maintain the formal structure of the discussion. We're going to limit, each speaker is allocated 5 minutes for their comments. And we kindly ask that you adhere to that because our board meetings are pretty long. Just know that the Board of Governors does not respond or engage in discussion during the public comment period. However, all comments will be carefully noted and addressed subsequently as needed. Public commentary is only permitted during the designated public comment period. Once the segment of the meeting is concluded, further public comments will not be entertained. And then participation of the board members and representatives includes committee chairpersons and liaisons of PULA may speak during their allotted times on the agenda as scheduled. And we appreciate your cooperation and participation. And the guidelines are designed to facilitate effective and respectful communication between the public and the board, ensuring that all voices are heard. So with that, public comment?
Lynn Chrissy, commenting for the public, because it's my understanding that we will be talking about short-term rentals, and I wanted to bring it to the attention of the chair and anyone else here that there is a new state law. It did pass. It will be effective October 1st. That gives municipalities, including taxing districts, the ability to ask short-term rentals to be licensed. We will be specifically empowered to create ordinances. That was something that was a question before. It does define what is a short-term rental. Again, that was something that was in question before. And additionally, it encourages us to seek outside help in the way of consultants or others to help put together our ordinances. I know that there are a number of shoreline communities that have begun actively now looking to do their ordinances, associations that are similar to ours. And I think that the committee that we have together, and John will speak later, I think they've done a really good job. However, I think that we would be well advised to wait until that law takes effect before we specifically do something, because if that law allows us to do things and we find that we can now, for example, force them to license, then why wouldn't we do that rather than take one bite now and then go back and take a second bite later?
Thank you. Thanks, Lynn.
Kim Jonah, 89 Wildwood. I'm with Lynn and John on the short-term rental committee. So I'm basically here to echo what Lynn just said. And that I think we've got a great bunch of regulations, but in light of this, I do think it's probably a good idea for us to wait. I think this summer's kind of done already. I'm not sure we could regulate this year anyway. So my thought would be to see what that law says and unfortunately have to have more meetings and maybe relook at it instead of having the membership vote twice. I'm not sure if that's the best idea. It's just like once and done, and it just may take a little longer.
Thank you. Any more public comment?
Yeah, one more. The bylaws came,
Because they can't see you. Say who you are.
Bill Sabo,
Thank you.
when the bylaws came out, usually you have the change, the way it's written, and then the change. And it's not, so I don't know if that was just
So if you're speaking in public comment, we can address that later in the
Okay.
bylaws.
that's why I just, like I said, I just noticed it when I didn't know what the changes, I know the changes are there, but I didn't know what. That's all. Thanks.
Any other public comment?
Just a little one, Nancy Kavanaugh, 85 Wildwood Road. On the way down here, Mary Jean Otis asked about the things that are posted in at the beaches.
Yes.
Yeah, the kiosks, and she thought they didn't look in good condition or whatever. And I said, well, it's the winter. We're going to be posting new ones, and they change throughout the summer. And she said, if you need someone to do that, that she would be willing to do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you repeat who that was that you?
Mary Jean Otis
Thank you.
on Wildwood Road.
Thank you.
I don't know what number. Between here and 100, right?
Yeah, it's here in 100.
Any other public comment?
I can leave one. I spoke with Craig Montanari, 11 Ridgewood Road. I spoke with Bonnie Sudell. Something came up on the Facebook page about phone number. And so I think Lisa connected me with her and we talked offline and we had a nice chat. But she said something, and we determined that it was the Google account that she's in charge of. So I told her to work with Google because when she was on the board back then, it was her phone number. Anyways, the point was, at the end of it, we should have a phone number for somebody. And I don't think that there is one on the website. As the webmaster, I couldn't find one. So I told her that I'd bring it up at the meeting.
I was gonna bring it up at Webmaster stuff.
Yeah, and we should find a spot for it. But I wanted to put it in public comment because it wasn't from me. It was part of the conversation I had with Amanda. So
Thank you.
welcome.
Okay. Any more public comment? All right. For board members, please and thank you in advance. I'm going to pass this around. These are dates for next year. And I know, Dave, you're not planning to continue, but if everybody would be really
Just so
kind and
fun.
considerate to offer your home to host, it would be really nice. I'm going to pass it around. I put myself in 4 dates. If you want to do that date, by all means,
I think I'm in for June or July this year.
you are. Yeah, I think it's July, Dave.
That's my swan.
But those need to be populated,
No, that's
so-
my house. My cottage.
No, I'm saying we can have that at the.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, Dave, you're July.
Tried that in the past, and there's so much noise, it's hard to do that. Cars and motorcycles,
In
and
the internet.
plus people walk in, they want to know, so yeah, it's just, it's easier not to do it here.
Like I said, feel free to cross out my name. Not that I mind hosting, I don't, it's just when it's large like this, it's really hard.
Well, I got a problem too with parking and space, so I gotta.
Yeah,
I got that problem.
okay, I'm just gonna go over a couple of, correspondence that I had. One was regarding porta potties. It was from a member. I generally try not to use the member's name unless we have to, but it says, and Phil, I'm sure this is, I'm kind of, this is sort of a thing for you.
Shoot.
But we could talk about this in properties if you want. I'm just going to go forth with the correspondence, but On behalf of the walkers, runners, cold weather beach users, and fisher people, I would like to request that all 3 porta potties remain open and be pumped out every 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. I've researched and note there is cost-effective antifreeze. Our use of rock salt, or use of rock salt that keeps the sanitary solution from freezing. Year-round access to the potties would benefit the year-round use and health of the lake. Thank you for your consideration. So we could talk about that in properties, because I had some thoughts too, and I'm sure a lot of other people do. But it's correspondence. So here's another one, and this was kind of to the whole board. It's a little bit long, so I'm going to just kind of pick around. But it's a thank you for the PULA meeting videos. They are much easier to follow than the audio meetings and more thorough than the written minutes. I just watched the April 15th video and have been keeping up with the board meetings over the last few years. I was on the board for several years, starting in 2014. During that time, we had a couple of dredging projects and other smaller projects that required contracts. With our lawyer, we developed generic addendums for any contracts to adequately cover us. I believe you are now discussing these addendums, which I believe is Exhibit A and B. You would benefit by reading old meeting minutes that describe the development of these addendums and talking to the lawyer, which obviously, we're doing. But that was very nice. And then she goes on to say, I had another concern while listening to one of the earlier meetings this year, and that was about the land that the water company is operating on. The idea of trying to sell this land concerned me because we as association have the ability to operate our own water company, and ownership of this land is part of the liability. I would check the covenants. I know this may have been just one board member's idea, but I am not sure the board can sell any of the pool of land. We can acquire properties, but I would do a lot more research before deciding to sell the pool of land. Again, we can talk about that. We also developed policy on dollar limits before multiple RFPs were required. It was $5,000 10 years ago. I think this should be all in our minutes and early online documents. We were the group that brought in a unified email and online document storage process. We also had well-defined freedom of information policies. I hate to see you rehashing things that we already worked out with our lawyer and documented. And what I can say to that is I did look at all the minutes back to 2013, 14, and I did put them in our financial policies thing. However, I did let this person know that we recently found out within the last year that anything that's membership voted on financially for financial policies is non-binding. So it has to be put forth by the board, but we are respecting those policies, or we have been trying to respect them. I also want to thank Evelyn for representing us at the north end of the lake. We are a long way from First Beach and appreciate having an area near us to put boats. We personally don't need the boat storage because we have a waterfront property. We do hope the broken walkway to the water and boat storage and muddy road from the construction are taken care of. There is also a problem on Pilgrim Way where construction caused the mud to wash out the stone road. And that concludes that correspondence.
Can we know who that's? Yeah, who was that? Who's that from?
I was trying not to. This is from Carrie Eckert.
I knew that.
All right.
She texted me.
I try not to.
She was the president.
She was.
I know.
She was. Yeah. She's not that far from First Beach.
She has a house at the end of Ridgewood Road Extension.
Yeah,
They
she's
live
got,
around
she's a
the house.
cottage and a house.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, I didn't think it was that far. Makes sense. Oops, sorry. Okay. So the August meeting, everybody knows, well, not everybody's here, but the August meeting, the board meeting that was August 12th is now, we all agreed, it's August 5th, but I just wanted to clearly say that so the public can hear too. I did change the calendar. And that's all I got. We can move on to financial reports. Lynn?
Sure.
Ready?
Yep. So, as of today, we have only one account outstanding.
Nice.
That's for a total tax of $731.08, interest of $120.63, there's $24 in fees associated with that. Having said that, I had a conversation via email with our attorney, who informs me that the amount was paid in full. So I'm simply waiting for the check. We will be 100% paid.
Awesome.
Great job.
I'm talking with QDS about getting our tax bills earlier. And it is my plan to come to the owners meeting at the end of June with the tax bills and the sign-up sheets, so that if people want to pick up their bills in person and even pay that date, they would be able to do that.
Nice,
Good job.
nice. I know you tried to do that last year.
Yeah, did it work last year?
I was not able to get the bills in time for the meeting, but I did then go down and I had 2 subsequent pickup dates. And I had about a dozen individuals who came and picked up their taxes ahead of time.
Go ahead, Evan.
What are the chances of paying our tax bills by credit card?
You know, it's
That-
interesting that you say that. I know that.
I like the points.
Yeah.
I am gonna, there are a couple of vendors who would be very interested in talking with us about doing ACH or EFT at the banks directly. And QDS, our software, facilitates that, but we would have to look into this, have to talk to the people at Liberty Bank, make sure that this all works. I did have someone who came to me last year and said, I'm very reluctant to pay by check because checks are stolen. And I worry that my money won't get where it needs to go. So that will be one of the things that I think that we should investigate.
Yeah.
But investigate means I'll get information, I'm gonna bring it here, we'll have a conversation and see if it makes sense.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have questions? Okay, I have a few here. One, so our email exchange regarding QDS's addresses, if you recall, the woman that reached out and said her bill was sent to the wrong owner, the email exchange that we had. Well, it was actually, it's the one that I had sent you back and said,
Yes.
we used QDS to send out the bylaws. And they didn't have the right information at the time, but you did. So I don't understand that, how that missed.
So how that works is that we get all of our addresses and the owners of our property directly from East Haddam, the town of East Haddam. So as ownership changes happen throughout the year,
Right.
that's registered with the town clerk. The town clerk passes it to the assessor. The assessor puts it in the database. And throughout the course of the year, updates happen in QDS. Now, grand list, which is October 1st of every year, things get locked and the bills generate. Now, what's going to happen because we're having the bills done in June is that if there have been any certificates of corrections, changes in ownership or changes in address between October and whenever they print these bills, and the assessor downloads into QDS,
Okay.
which is probably within the next, if it hasn't already happened, within the next week.
So I think that was probably
All
more
of
my
that
question.
shows up. It's
Okay.
all about point in time
All right.
because they are continuously updating that database.
So it's whenever the town of East Haddam's assessor uploads to QDS, the new, so that might be how we missed it. And then do they download to you after that? Is that what
Yes.
happens? Okay. All right.
Yeah. So anytime.
So that
there's-
makes sense then.
Right, new construction or there's a change in ownership, the assessor has 90 days to update her records.
But that doesn't necessarily mean it's getting dumped to QDS.
Update the records means it dumps to QDS.
Oh,
She has a nightly dump that
Okay.
happens.
okay.
Yeah, PBS is wired into just about every town.
Times in the morning.
Okay. All right, well, good to know.
Yeah, so that's how that happens.
Okay, thank you. And third thing is, you're the last password we need.
Oh. So I have a copy of the report and I'm gonna write with some passwords and pass it
Okay,
over.
and when you do it, just so they're all in one place.
Yep.
For somebody else to know someday.
Just in case.
Well, there was only half
Mark
of our
that.
passwords,
Yep.
documented. All right. Thanks, Lynn.
Yeah.
Anything else for Lynn?
Thank you, Lynn.
Lisa,
And
treasurer?
There you go.
So reports are posted.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions via email. Do I have any questions tonight about that? So Evelyn, you got mail? Or your husband got mail from Solitude? Maybe that's the answer to our eloquent problem.
No, he got involved last year and now
Oh,
I
that's
seem to
right.
think he's the contact.
He seemed interested. Maybe he'll be. interested
Yeah, he
again.
was interested in getting the north end of the lake treated because we see them when they come in.
Anyway, he got mail. So, the other thing is that Phil asked last year for a mailbox outside my house, like Lee Griffin used to have, and I was kind of leery about cross traffic. And then just putting it out there, but this year I did it. I put a low profile. We're looking at my little porch. It's to the right down here. It's white. It's got no, I'm gonna put Pula on it, but it's just white and I'm hoping it's low profile. Nobody even notices it, but for Lynn, it's gonna work out for Lynn this year, then to use our mailboxes have been, well, we've sent a few things back to the post office because of the time that we put each other in the mailbox and the mailman comes and takes it and goes, okay, I'll mail that for you. So we've had a couple of those. So I put the mailbox there for everybody.
Oh, that's
If you
fine.
have something, check request, pavilion rent,
So just to be clear for the public, that is not for their tax bills.
absolutely not.
Just to be clear. Okay, so it's just for internal use of Pula,
Mhm.
check requests, Lynn to put stuff in your
Yeah,
mailbox,
it's-
and it's locked.
It's just for like committee chairs and people that, end up spending for, and they have a check
Okay.
request they want to drop off, or, in the future, if they're renting a pavilion, they want to drop off the application and the check for me. A lot of times Lynn Butler would say, if you want to just drop it off there, you can do that.
Is it locked?
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
But I just wanted it to be clear to the public, it's not for tax bills.
no,
Or-
and I don't
Tax
even think I'm
payments.
gonna put Pula on it. I
Right.
don't, quite frankly, because it's just white and it blends in, and it's for people for me to say, just go drop it there. So I can see it and I can go home and grab it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm less frightful now because I put it someplace out of the way. I didn't want to mount it on my wall and have everybody go, hey, look at that. I wonder what's in there. Oh, I wonder if I can grab a check that somebody's afraid to even put in there,
Oh, it's locked. That's pretty good. Even better.
That's
Yeah,
great,
right.
Lisa, thank you.
So that's all I have. I've prepared next year's budget. Fiscal budget is ready. I think that it's based on last year's budget. Lori, I run it by Lori because she was the budget chair for the year that I'm doing, I believe. So she's just gonna bless what's there to make sure it matches the budget that the budget committee that year had, and then we're ready to rock and roll in July.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's it. That's all I got.
Any questions for Lisa? Thanks, Lisa. Okay, communications. The only thing I have on that is, the bylaws printing and mail expense was $599 as opposed to the 800 and whatever that we thought, so that was a good thing. And that's where we took the expense out of communications, that's where printing and postage comes out of. So, but that's all I have.
Is this where we can ask questions about the bylaws?
No.
Tell me when. Tell me when.
Nice try, Dave. I was gonna be right behind you.
I gotta ask.
Okay, Evelyn Geese?
Oh, sneaky little buggers.
Yes, they
Yeah,
are.
I know.
So we have 6 adults and 14 babies. I don't know where the nests were. They were not in the typical spots where they've been. I even had Nutmeg Farms come out about a month ago and go around in the kayak. She didn't notice them, so it could be on the other side.
They're catching on to you.
They know me. They know my car. They know my hat when I'm wearing a hat. They know me. Can't harass them right now. So, but if you see them in the yard and you don't want them there, you can shush them into the water, but you can't really scare them.
When's molting season over?
Yeah, you gotta wait till, and one set of the babies is like half the size of the other set of the babies. So there's 4 or 6 that are smaller, so they bred at different times.
But typically molting season is over when? June, July?
Mid-July, end of July. Last year, they were done molting I think the 3rd week in July. So it depends. Like, those babies will probably be a couple weeks after the other ones.
If they make it.
Natural
selection.
You wanna
Dragon
know?
turtle out there. I think you'll-
We do have them, don't we?
No, I don't think they're.
Like I heard they're like the size of trash cans.
Oh, it's more like a
Yeah.
Loch Ness monster.
They don't seem to be expensive this year.
I have been looking at the fence. I think I might be able to get by without purchasing new fencing. So sometime this week, can you bring that fence down for me?
Will do.
Also, do you know when you're gonna move that boat? Because I can't get at that
Well,
section.
Jeez.
No, just
I'm
wondering.
going for a stress test in the morning, so depending on how that goes, I'll let you know. How's that? Don't push him.
I can't get at the fence because the boat's there.
Don't stress though.
I mean, somebody flattened the fence when they moved the swimming dock into it last year, so now the boat's in the way. I can't. I've done what I can.
Yes, we will work on it.
Thank you, dear. That's it.
Any questions for Evelyn? Geese? Great. Elquick. So I think, and I don't know if everybody read it, Corinne sent out an email to all board members and then some, all representatives as well. And right now, Elquick consists mainly of East Shore residents. And we really need to get some more people interested from our community. Corinne wants to step down as chair. Not abruptly, but she's been doing it for quite a long time, and I think it's become complacent that it just gets done. So probably need to put out some volunteer requests for several things, but I think lake quality is really important. So if anybody's interested anywhere in here, but I really, folks out in the community, it would be nice. I'll read her summary, and like I said, the other part is her stepping down at the end of the season as chair, but she's not going to leave Lake Quality, but she's stepping down as chair. So her summary is East Hatham's budget referendum passed, and it did include another $15,000 for the dam, which brings our total to $60,000. Woohoo! It also included $15,500 to help pay for our lake quality expenses in 24 and 25. Weed treatment is scheduled for July 9th, 2024. As most of you already know, this is to allow for some growth before treatment. This is the second year of our general 3-year permit to treat. Our ability to treat by the boat launch was only granted for 2 years. We will have to reapply to extend that into 2025. Tim, Rick, and Wolf have conducted their deep water testing twice so far this year. They are testing in only one spot this year, twice a month. Results tell us about oxygen levels, phosphorus buildup, and the algae tests are run. And then she does go into she'll be stepping down at the end of the season. It's time to get some new members of our association involved, and I'm suffering from a bit of burnout. We are very well represented from the east side of the lake, but the association participation is lacking. She says she'll take blame for that, but I don't think she should. I'm happy to stay involved behind the scenes as far as the weed treatments are concerned and the budgeting process with the town. Just don't want to be the face of Elkwood anymore. I think it would be helpful to try and find an interested resident before Poola's budgeting process starts if possible. That's starting Wednesday, so probably not. So I saw that the job description has changed to include beach erosion, which should have an impact on that ask. I'm not sure. I have to question her on that, what she was reading. I really don't know. But that was pretty much more for the public because everybody, I think everybody here got that email.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Does anybody have any questions about that? Any comments? You know, anybody that's interested in lake quality? If you don't, try to put your thinking caps on maybe. Okay, we'll move on to the biodetention basin. Another fun development. So everybody got that email as well. That was forwarded from Tim. He and I had a little go back and forth because initially I had thought it was the initial design, and I'm like, well, it was oversought by so many. Why did it fail? And he said it did not fail. It's a refinement based on the 300-year storms where the biodetention basin wasn't doing what it was designed to do, which was to take the nutrients from the water into the ground. With the flow of those 300-year storms we had, it was acting like a pass-through. And not all of it was seeping into the ground. So they're recommending we put a berm up. Something to talk about.
And the water would go where after it hit the berm?
So the berm would actually sit in front of the discharge, and it would hold the water back a little bit more so that it seeps into the ground instead of going out the discharge. And initially they were talking about a concrete berm, but then I think they moved to like a rock berm. I could be wrong.
Should have been deeper.
Well, they were going to divert it also towards the street. I think they were going to make the detention area bigger by
Right.
creating that berm.
Right.
Berm acts as the dam and yeah.
Right. So it's something, you know, we should all chew on, talk about,
Do we have
maybe
quotes or is there we don't,
nothing. This was
this was just
Just-
a suggestion.
just a suggestion, just brought to light. And then there was a question, it was funny, Corinne and I talked about this too, but, Bill, so one of the other questions, I think you were copied on this too, right? One of the question was, how often is the debris moved from the grate? But I'm like, that would keep the water in more. Corinne and I both said that. But so is that something that we do? Is that something that we have landscapers do? Is it something?
Nope. When that system went in, the only thing that I made a comment on is that if a little kid goes into that pipe, we could be in trouble. So that's why we had that stuff, but that wasn't even in anywhere.
Right.
So I was at the probably 12th hour meeting and I asked what needs to be done.
And I agree. You and I were talking about that in budgeting because we were trying to budget for whatever needed to be
They
done.
said nothing needs to be done.
I know.
So, and here, again, another $1,000 came up.
Right.
Because I had to have a mow.
I know.
And they do a great job over there.
Right,
But as
right.
far as cleaning that out, I know nothing.
So is that something we should do? Would that be
It's
landscaping?
probably
Would
like
that be?
it's probably not more than a couple times. Like it's probably not.
I
So-
don't understand why you would want to clean it.
Oh, to me, Corinne and I talked and we're like, well, that would keep the water in the basin more and slow down the flow.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it slows down the flow the wrong way.
Right.
Now it gets clogged, and then when it needs to flow, it's not going to be able to.
Not working properly.
Right.
Right. The whole point of having it there is it's an overflow.
Right. So, so basically then what you're saying is since that detention basin's been in, that's never been cleaned out. And that's the amount of debris that's in there, which really isn't a whole lot.
I did it once.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I forgot when somebody asked to have it done. I think
Tim, maybe?
I forget who it was. And I went down there, I looked at it and I really didn't clean much because there was nothing there.
Right.
You know, I don't know if the town was involved at that time. I don't know, but it,
No,
There's not a lot.
A lot of.
I mean, and
in
for
the
the,
fall, there'll be leaves and stuff like that, but I can't
and
see
for the
there being
time period, there's a little bit, like it goes up about maybe that much, you know, the grate's like this tall, it goes up about that much maybe. Well, last time I went down there anyway, I don't know, there's more now, but, so is that something we could put on the,
watch list.
yeah, I could go. I mean, it's not, to me, it's just a matter of taking a rake and raking it out of there. It's not a big deal. If you want to take
This is gonna help until you design it.
But
I didn't design it.
okay, so I will, I'll let Tim know we're gonna do that, and then as far as talking about the berm,
What do the experts recommend?
these are the experts.
And they recommend it to be clean.
They recommend it to be clean,
Oh, then
yes,
we clean it,
yes.
that's all.
Simple.
So they're saying
When it
annual,
needs it.
Yeah.
annual,
Not a-
Phil. Annually.
Yeah.
As an annual maintenance need, remove the accumulated debris, silt and
needed.
muck from the
Yep.
basin discharge, but it's not really silt and muck in there. I mean, that pipe was pretty open to me.
it is.
And more than anything, like sticks and twigs.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Right, if we have a really big storm where debris is flying and stuff, and maybe somebody takes a look at it.
So here's the real, so it is, and I'm probably gonna, not do justice to his name, but Knocklin's opinion, and he's lake water quality for deep, that this accumulated material is heavily laden with concentrations of total phosphorus, total nitrogen. The debris should be physically removed off-site to ensure that any existing TP and TN does not enter the lake. TP and TN, total phosphorus, total nitrogen, are nutrients supporting the growth of weed, fanwort, and lake hayward.
Mhm.
There was evidence of a great deal of sand that had washed into the detention basin as well. Common sense would therefore conclude that excessive amounts of sand may have also washed into all the catch basins along Hayfield Road. That's something different, being handled by John Soko or whatever, I guess, whatever you guys work out.
Right.
And I did talk to Public Works. Well, we sat there and they have that hand-drawn map that we have of all the boxes.
Right.
So, which I did explain to Tim what that was. During several of the heavy rain events experienced this year, it's highly likely that the high velocity of the water coming down the stream from the top of the hill did not stop and the detention basin proceeded directly out the discharge outlet and into the lake. The recommendation is install a stone berm similar to the stone used to line the detention basin. Next to the new stone berm, add an additional earthen berm covered with grass to allow water to accumulate in the detention basin. The purpose is to divert the high velocity rainwater into the detention basin, slow the water down and hold the rainwater in place to then drain into the earthen bottom of the detention basin as intended.
It's not my leak.
They didn't say how high the berm needs to be though.
No.
You know, the thing is, this last weekend, we had 4 inches of rain. And then we had another 1.5 inches. So we've had 5.5 inches of rain in the last week. That would fill that whole pond right up if there was a berm there.
Right, and that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that's something, Phil, perhaps you want me to work out with Soko.
Oh, yeah, but that's out of my league.
All right,
That's totally out of my league.
and I should be using John Sokolowski.
Right.
Right.
So John is our liaison taking care of.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm gonna,
My neighbors.
okay. And then I'll let you know where he comes up with that. And then as far as annually removing debris, like fall or,
Yep.
yeah,
You told
I mean,
me.
maybe now because it's been there, but
Right.
maybe like when we close up or something. I mean, there's still leaves falling then,
Right.
That they're all.
so maybe spring.
I think it's spring.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because then that's when the snow starts melt. Well,
Right.
Make it part of spring.
when the
What
snow
snow?
starts- I know. But, okay, so spring?
Right, yeah. I mean, as far as the berm, you know, could I elaborate a little bit on that
Yeah,
whole thing? You know, they want us to do all that.
yes,
But yet, if they controlled all the water coming down, we wouldn't have the problem.
So,
And as we talk to the town, they have no money, they have no people. I get it. So I mean,
well, as an adder, that over the next couple of years with the public works plan to
Right.
help divert water, that
Right.
may help it.
right, sure.
So, you know, we can have John get a price and then all discuss if we think it's worth it or
Right.
it
Put
was,
it on the list.
right. And it
Yeah.
was considered,
Bottom of the list, sorry, I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. It was considered a, you know, an opinion and an advice.
Yep.
So, we'll put that in John's court.
Okay.
Hi, John. So that's it for lake quality.
Shouldn't be
unless-
that much money for a berm. What they're talking about.
Well, and then they want the earth and
Yeah.
whatever.
That's just
But even
rock.
that
That's
should
just
be,
rock.
they dig it out and
Right.
use
The thing
that.
is, we didn't design it. We went by their design.
Right.
So,
I agree.
end of story.
Yeah, but end of story, but it's our lake.
But
So
Yeah.
their
right, but-
design wasn't, you know, we all know that the rains that we had are something that we didn't account for. We
Right.
haven't had 300-year rains and.
we also don't know if they're gonna continue or we don't know.
Right,
We don't, right.
right.
So like,
Chances are they
be
will.
prepared.
Yeah, right.
So maybe we get a quote and then we
Right.
go with
I
it
agree.
there.
Yep. Not gonna hurt you.
Okay. So that's it on lake quality. Everybody good?
Yep. Sure.
Okay. Newsletter, Gary Cohen, is gonna do the first one by June 22nd. I did talk to him, and asked him if he needed a Rachel, and he thinks he's fine. He thinks he's got the editing and the PDF under control. I'm happy about that. We did need someone to print and put, the newsletters in the kiosks. And so,
I was just walking by and she said she would.
that's awesome.
I didn't ask,
Look,
there
I
was
wrote-
no discussion.
I wrote it, Nancy, okay? So Mary Jean, I have a
Right.
key.
I think I also have a G.
Who does?
I think I do.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not volunteering. You
No,
can-
no, but she'll do it.
You can have my key.
Okay.
I think I do. I'd have to look at my table keys.
If not, have it in 2 keys.
Oh, okay. So you can give her one. And then I have one and Evelyn has one. So there's
Probably
never,
should have
we're never
stopped
out of a
somewhere.
key.
I think I might even have another one at home. I could get- Yeah,
Okay. So I will confirm with Mary Jean if that's something she wants to do. That's awesome. All right. And I saw that you got with, Phil with, Linda Abel and her mulch.
there,
So she's good.
it's there.
She does a good job. She makes a nice garden. Thank
And Jeff
you.
was gonna help her spread it today.
It's all done, all done. Yep,
Done.
all done.
It looks good.
Nice.
Awesome. I didn't see it. Anna.
But I don't even need a data boy. You just helped out a friend.
Yeah.
Okay, no big deal.
I'll give you one anyway.
Thank you, Jeff.
They don't come
Thank you,
often
Phil.
enough.
Okay. So here's the next big one. But I'm gonna let Phil give his properties report if nobody else has anything else on. Oh,
Ready?
Yeah.
I'm not prepared. I apologize. We'll start with the beaches. Beaches are looking better than I've ever seen. I've seen them looking a long time. I did get some more sand for First Beach. These loads that I got last year didn't finish. Didn't cover all the whole beach. The sand was quite a bit more this year. I want to say a little over $100 more. If anything else that goes up. Our landscaper came and spread it. He went up, last year was 600 and this year was 750. And he went down. Dave wanted, more sand on at Second Beach. I said, we ain't got no money. No. I had the, guy go down with his, York rake and he did a nice job. And Dave said everything's fine down there.
Looks good.
Third Beach, as we know with Third Beach, I was kind of in contact with John Sokolowski with that. John Allegra just blows me away. He is a fantastic person. Once you get him, he did a great job. He went over and above
it looks beautiful.
what he did. There's so many rocks that he put down there, and he put some, I don't know what they call that crushed stuff. I don't think we're gonna like it.
Millings.
Millings. He put some millings there. it is what it is.
Yeah.
He actually filled in around where the fence jugs in, around the corners there. He
Yeah.
filled all that in for us, so I wanted the town to do it, but the town, doesn't have any money. There is still,
Or personnel.
there is still a sign down there that I want ripped out. It's a walk sign. There's no walkway there. I don't know why that sign is there. It's down,
Going across from Cindy's old house.
no.
No,
it's-
no,
it's
that's
way
no,
down
Third
there.
Beach.
Wait, third.
Way
Yeah,
down.
no, Cindy's old.
Where on
house.
Third Beach?
Huh?
It's where where you could park to unload.
Ah,
It's right there on if you're looking at the beach, it's on the right-hand side.
Oh,
Yeah,
There's a walk sign. I mean, even when Michelle was here last year, I had her here the last year, and she goes, why is that there? I said,
That's an old sign. We should probably just take it down.
it's not old.
No, it's not.
No, it's a walk sign. Those walk signs.
One of the new ones.
Yeah,
oh, the
so ours
big, the
was in
yellow
town.
one?
yes,
They just put that back up.
Oh, that was Second Beach.
Oh, it's Second Beach.
second.
Yeah, the one with
Well,
the
so
sign.
if there's a sign there, it doesn't belong there, and it's a town sign, then we just tell the town and make it their problem.
Yeah.
I've already asked them 8 times.
I'll send Michelle
I'll take it.
a
I
letter.
got my toy in
Thank
the
you.
car.
You're welcome.
There you go.
But again, the beaches do look fantastic. I'm hoping to keep that way. Right now I'm doing First Beach, maintenance. Dave is doing Second Beach maintenance, and then, Chris Papalazzo will be doing Third Beach. We have 3 tractors that Bill Taylor is getting up and running right now. Dave already got his up and running, and he's already down there doing it. You're not getting paid extra, Dave. I'll tell you that right now, so.
Forget it. It's all good.
What week does that start?
This weekend.
This weekend,
So,
this coming weekend,
so this weekend,
Memorial Weekend is the first.
so your paid weeks are gonna start the Saturdays.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Saturday's one.
Cause we're gonna do every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
That's what we did, what I did last year.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Remember?
I just have to
Still
get
buy
with Chris
groceries now.
Papalazzo and see where he wants to leave the tractor. Dave leaves his tractor at his house.
Yeah.
I leave mine on First Beach, and what Chris is gonna do, I have no idea. That's up to him. I did buy a new
He's here.
detactor this past week because we have 3 tractors, we only had 2
Factors in it.
detachers. Let's go with the pavilion, our pavilion fans. I know it's a bad subject, but I never finished up with it. Everything is installed, everything is ready to go.
Awesome.
They're beautiful.
One of the glitches that we had is that I wanted one remote to operate both fans,
Mhm.
and it didn't happen.
So do the remotes have a common and a learn?
Yep,
So the common should work on both.
he did everything, he tried, he even called the company back.
Oh,
And the company goes, well, I don't know what to tell you.
We got 2 remotes.
So there's two remotes in the events cabinet, in events closet now. One says beach side, one says shed side. Brandon ordered 2 more remotes that he paid for. These are not
The reserves.
the reserve,
These are
these aren't
backups.
programmed yet.
okay,
So he's gonna have to program, and I'm saying, don't program until we need them.
right, right.
That's my thought.
Because you don't know which one you're gonna need it for. Yeah. You want me to put them in the president's pass-on bag with the keys?
Whatever you want with them.
Why
I
don't we
mean, I-
just, why don't we program them and and label them, and then they're programmed when we need them? Just saying.
They're not hard to program. They're
Oh, all
easy to
right,
program.
They're really good.
Yeah.
That's
And
something-
then that way, just saying, what if one of the same one gets
Is that something we
defunct or
can
lost?
Can we program those?
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh,
very
okay,
easy.
so-
Yeah,
Very easy.
very
It's just
easy.
got a learning button and you
Yeah. Okay.
power down, power up.
But anyway, he donated both of these. They were like, well.
It's like your
That was
garage
really
door.
nice.
Yeah, those things are
Super nice
miserable.
guy.
Yeah.
But again, I apologize. I wanted to have the other issue. I don't want to say the other issue. The remotes. I kind of thought that I would be able to not anchor them, put them in the room, in the events room. You can touch them without moving, taking them out.
You gotta point them.
They're too far. Yeah, they're too far away.
Once people put them back where they came from.
Well,
Yeah, I know, that's a big ask.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I would put those in your closet.
that's up to the, that's up to the.
I'm gonna
board.
put them with all the keys, Evelyn.
That's
Like
I don't
keys to
care.
the keys to the
Fine.
Okay.
community, that way, because that's like a key,
Yeah,
right?
no, yeah, that's
So, and we'll mark the boxes, what they are, and
Yeah,
then
no, that's
the
fine.
next president can have
See you
them
later,
all.
guys.
All
Thank you for
right,
having us.
Take
Bye,
care.
Ken.
Good to see
I will
you.
see you on the road.
Yes.
Those are not programs. Remember that.
Okay, I'll write on here, not programmed, whatever, I'll write on them.
Right.
And then I'll put them in that bag.
Right, and they're pretty self-explanatory. You got the 6 speeds.
Thank you.
Hi, Lynn, thank you.
Take care, Lynn.
6 speeds on the fan.
Bye, Lynn.
See you
You
tomorrow.
have a
Yes,
light
you
button
will.
that dims. And then there's another button underneath, to change the reverse of the fan. So they're down there.
Is there like a timer that these lights are gonna go on and off, or are these only used for events?
Only events.
Only events, okay. And then if the public reserves the pavilion and wants to use them, is there a rule for that? Or is it
I would say no.
only used for Pula official events?
Yeah.
Okay. So we should put that in writing somewhere.
Well, I mean, so maybe that'll be in the rules and regs and or on the pavilion res sheet or something. You know, they can,
They
you
can
know,
ask for the fans to be on.
yes,
Right, okay.
I wouldn't see that as a big deal.
right,
You just turn them on.
right. I think our biggest concern would be the remotes,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
you know, getting misplaced or what have you.
I mean, the only thing that we had control of before, there was 2 spotlights up above the fans.
Yeah.
And you could turn those on from,
Inside.
yeah, the third shed. I don't know what the hell they call these damn
Yeah.
things.
The board should.
That you would toggle on and off. That's gone right now, because those, you know, you can't have those lights. We got 2 new lights there. So I mean, that's the way it always was. Nobody was ever able to use those lights unless it was.
Right.
So, but you guys can do it if you want with it, you know.
But if somebody has to use the fans and somebody's available to open the door and do it, then we can do it, but.
They just have to be available to shut them off again too.
Right.
Exactly,
Well,
yeah.
They were
Lock it down.
ripcords,
Yeah, right.
when we deploy MRC buses, you know, all over, whatever, we have components we don't want people to walk off. We have them on ripcords.
Okay.
So they can't leave the bus. I mean, they're pretty long, they
like
can
those
get out
key-
the door,
Janitor's
do what we
keychains.
have to do. But yeah, I have, my keys are on a ripcord. So if we could find, if I look for long ripcords, could it be mounted on the wall? The ripcord comes out and point, and then it
Absolutely.
gets put back? Let
Absolutely.
me look for ripcords.
Yeah, we need 2 of them.
They'd have to be in a, well, yeah. They'd have to be in
I
a
get it,
box or
but-
something. but-
Put them in the AED box.
Wrong button.
Yeah, I tried when we mounted, I just tried to hit the buttons, but then you got to mount it.
Yeah.
It is what it is, so. All right, the lights. Parking and security, I don't know what you guys have, I looked for information. I can't find anything with the person I called. I think they were just over at Salem somewhere, but I can't find anything. I don't think I can see if anybody stepped forward to do it yet, but that's something that should be done like ASAP.
So do you mean all the beaches are a problem?
If you don't catch it early, yes. With outsiders, and especially with the new neighbor coming in
Lake
here.
Hayward Reserve.
Well, they're not gonna be in for.
Yeah, I know.
I'm already seeing people walk in.
So I think the ultimate thing is, you know, in the past,
How many blocks?
Evelyn's approached, you've approached, and people get angry.
Yeah, I mean, I only had a problem once. I mean, I've been doing it for a couple of years now. Most people are pretty good about it. You know, it's all how you approach people. And, you know, I know I have anger issue problems, but I never had a problem with anybody except for it was one big group of people that were there, and Tom Strachan came over and he goes, "So do you have any problems?" I said, "No, they're good." But it's not an issue if you talk to the people right, explain to them. I mean, there's enough of signage all over the place to have your parking pass.
Well, and if you live here, you.
Well, and with that being said, a lot of people that live here
Don't put their passes
don't put their
out.
passes on.
Right.
You know, and it frustrates me because I'll see all different, 6 or 7 different passes for New York State Parkway, this thing and that thing, but they can't put our.
So I'm just gonna put it out there, you know, our recourse has been, well, we'll tow you. Well, no, we don't. We don't tow. And, you know,
But they don't know that.
well, we'll mark you 3 times and we'll put a sticker on your windshield. No, we don't do that either.
Maybe
Maybe we go to our finding system. I don't know.
Have we,
I put, we have, what do you want to call them? Notices that we put on the car.
Right.
Take a picture of it. If people see that, they think. They don't know that we're, you know, they don't know that we're not gonna call it. They don't know. Nobody knows,
Right, right.
you
Well,
know?
I don't know. I think,
I know, people leave. People leave. Go ahead.
I know we have,
No,
we
it
have, the-
reminds me, I have that parking thing. I'm gonna create a drive and put it on there. And then you just send it to have it printed.
I know we have the hanging things. Have we
Right.
thought about residents getting a sticker that they put on their window that's good
We
for
had,
2 years?
been there, done that.
That, yeah, and that,
Yeah, we did that for many years. We actually had, at one point, visitors passes. There was a paper visitors pass. Each house got 2.
Yeah.
But myself, I like the stickers that are on the window better than the hanging tags.
yeah, so why don't we just, I
Well,
mean, why did we get away from it? Because the hanging tags, I mean, I have no problem with them. I keep one in my car. But then it gets away from all the residents not remembering to grab it or whatever. And then you have a hanging tag for your visitors.
so does this sound too convoluted? Maybe we get 4 now, right?
Yeah.
So maybe 2 car stickers and 2 passes, because that could, you know, volley as your guest or
Yeah.
your
I mean, I just,
alternate
Here's the
vehicle.
problem with the passes. They were copied. Each house is supposed to have 2. Some houses had many more than 2.
no,
Of
but
the
what she's
stickers
saying
or
is the
the-
hanging tag.
Oh, the
You're
hanging
saying
tags.
the paper
Okay,
ones,
that's-
yeah.
No, no, not the
was
paper
right.
one.
Okay.
So 2 hang tags and 2 stickers. That way your sticker's always on your car.
I'm only saying if it's an issue that residents are forgetting and it really, then that would alleviate the resident issue.
What, do you think that you found a lot of
Yeah,
that,
but would
Phil,
you
or
remember-
was it just
Why
blatant?
we
No,
got
I mean, it's a little bit of both. I mean,
There was no
it
stickers when I got it
frustrates me more when it's
Or
people
was it
that
the
live
hanging
here.
tags?
since
They
08.
give me the hardest time.
Well, yeah, because
You know,
they feel,
remember when
well,
we
I
got
live
away
there. I
from
tell you,
stickers?
da, 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 da.
But yeah, and I guess, like I said, I don't know who, I don't know
I
who your
think it
relative
was.
is.
But it's how we-
cost-effective.
how
get more
we
shelf life
govern-
out of the hanging.
For the people that don't live
Right,
here.
Right.
So maybe someday you're not gonna have a parking space because people that
Yeah, but
don't
the-
live here are
Exactly.
all parked
Well, that's
here.
what I've been
4
doing
years
for the last 2 years.
So,
Lori.
Yep.
We came to the conclusion.
Yeah, the reason we got away from the window stickers
Right.
was cost effective.
Was-
The window stickers were yearly. Every year you got.
Yeah,
a
but you
window
can make the
sticker.
window sticker
Right.
every 4 years. or
Probably you
whatever.
can, right, but that's what the thought was at the
Right, it was
time.
more cost effective for the hanging.
At the time, the hanging tags were more cost effective.
But now
because
every
they
4
were
years-
Multiple years.
Sorry.
Yeah, right. No, I know, yeah.
Yeah, every
I
4 years,
understand.
we gotta get all new hanging tags and
Right.
how
and
expensive
that's
are those?
coming up. So maybe if we want to change that
Right, when you
configuration,
do it, yeah.
I don't know,
Right,
I've gone back. I think the hanging tags are more visible. They're easier for people checking. They're easier to see. They were just a small, remember the old emission stickers we used to have?
Yeah.
They were similar to that.
People used to have.
so maybe 2 of each.
Or maybe,
Yeah.
okay, so I brought up the stickers, but maybe we just continue to pepper people with communications, you know? And then your fine system that you mentioned before,
And that would mean somebody would have to, you know, I know that Phil and or Evelyn before were keeping track of how many times they put
Yeah.
a notice on a person's,
Right.
but that, you know, it's
It's the same issue.
Cumbersome.
It's the same issue with coming up with new rules and regulations. If you don't have somebody to back them up,
Enforce them,
it's
yeah.
a waste. It's a waste.
And,
so,
and that's, we're kind of getting away from what I'm asking for is we need somebody to start now.
Checking.
so,
Checking cars on beaches.
Right.
so we'll send out a
Yeah.
email. I mean, we have a lot of volunteer, nouns,
Lori, what are you gonna check there? May I?
of course.
Being a shoreline resident for many years, basically my whole life, what the beach associations do down there is they have a teenager in a folding chair, in a lawn chair, and they sit right by the parking lot. And they check the stickers. Now, that's what they do, paying X amount of dollars per hour, and they're monitoring the cars as they come in. Now, could they have a problem? Sure, of course they could have a problem. But then you can cross that bridge when it comes, but that's how they do it. All the beaches, favorite West Coast.
So
You're gonna have
maybe,
to have 3 though.
But is it worth it is the question.
so perhaps that person would be
Contact.
better
Yeah.
charged with having those orange, not the stickers, the orange
Hang tags.
no, the orange,
Parking things.
notices.
Okay.
And if that person took the time to say, oh yeah, this license plate was 3 times or whatever, then they get a fine.
Also, those beach communities, if I may continue, those beach communities also are taxi districts, and they have the ability to actually legally ticket somebody.
Right, we do too.
Yeah.
We have that.
I know, but I mean, it's all part of the process.
Right.
If we're gonna go through, we follow it through all the way to the
Because
end.
towing really isn't.
No, you issue them a ticket, it becomes a legal ticket.
You're not gonna tell anybody.
No, but we could find them.
But are we gonna pay a teenager to sit in a lawn
Exactly.
chair and do it? I don't think we are. I don't think it's a good use of resources. I think people being vigilant about it and handling it the way that Bill has been handling, not that you have to do it, but
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
But like if I see it, or if you see something, say something.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth spending money on having a kid sit there. I sure as hell wouldn't do it. I wouldn't have any of my kids do it.
Well, yeah, because you don't know what you're gonna contend with either.
Well, but also it's just a waste. They're
And
just sitting there
right.
doing
It
what?
depends how much.
It's not like we have a high traffic area. It's a very low
Right,
traffic area.
exactly. I agree, Jen.
I have to say, the biggest offenders are people that have lived here for a long time and that rent the pavilion for the day
Right.
and think that they get to take up all the parking places. Those are the times I've had the biggest issue with people in my face.
Yeah.
And it's in the contract.
So what would prevent the
I don't know.
distributing of your 4 passes, again, would be you get 2 hang tags and 2 stickers. Most people don't have too many more cars than
They
2
just
per
borrow from
family,
their
But
neighbors.
that's not gonna address Evelyn's issue though.
Yeah.
but it partially will, because
No,
someone's not
no,
gonna
no,
give
no.
away 4 of their,
They just borrow from their neighbors.
Well, but
not
there's
if they don't
nothing,
have 4.
yeah, but there's nothing wrong with bar. I mean, that's legal. That's within the rules. If I
Right.
wanted to
Right.
go to all my neighbors and get 15 passes, I can
You
park
can.
15 of my friends
Yes,
at
you
First
can.
Beach.
Right.
The point is, they're not doing that.
Right.
So
But if you only have 2 to give, because the other 2 are on your permanent cars,
sure. Sure.
it lessens the amount that are borrowed or.
It really boils down to how much of an issue is this?
Right.
If it's once a week, once a weekend, if it.
4
if
times a
it's
summer.
4 times a summer,
Right.
if it's 10 times a weekend, then it becomes an issue.
Right.
So I think we need to evaluate.
So,
And now the Evelyn's issue is is a separate issue. And I agree with Dave. It's
It was worse during COVID. It was terrible during COVID,
Let's not talk about COVID.
but now I find it's more our residents that take advantage of, especially Saturdays, Sunday afternoons when they rent the pavilion.
I would suspect the weekends are obviously the higher.
Weekends are the worst. And again, if you start catching it now, it goes very well during the summer because people know that somebody is watching. Everybody knew that truck. You know what I mean? So you saw the truck coming, they would go up to their car and get it out of there. You know what I mean? But it's something. I mean, that's why I called that security company. I was gonna, see what it costs to have them come out on just on the weekends, Saturday, Sundays. But that's something that you guys gotta. I don't. They never got back to me, so I
It's
don't.
down, it breaks down to dollars and cents.
Right.
Are we willing to spend the money or we want to police ourselves? That's kind of what it breaks down.
and
to.
how often it's happening.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
All those elements.
Yeah.
So,
We
all right,
beat that to death.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, we did.
Something to think about.
moving on.
It's still that.
Yes.
We're gonna
Um,
move on to the north end stairs, north end over Evelyn's area. We had a chat with John Sokolowski and John Allegra last week. We met down there
In the rain.
and she was there too. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry,
We had
Brandon.
decided the best way to do it is you have some stairs on the left-hand side looking at the lake.
You're all right.
Right, I'm sorry. Thank you. That's why you're here. There's some stairs going down on the right. We're gonna get rid of. And then John is going to put some nice, like he did at Little Beach, put some nice stairs going down. Some of the way, not all the way, but some of the way with a railing
That's good. The
On the
railing.
left side.
on the left side.
It's on the north side.
On the north side.
Okay.
Of course, with that said.
He already, did you put the boards up?
No, John
John-
Sokolowski did.
John did.
I asked him to go back and do that because
And I want people to go, we already said it's not safe, don't go down there.
And I've
people-
seen people go under the caution tape and go right down there.
You
So
can't-
John,
you
we're
can't
gonna-
fix-
And not my
You
circus.
can't fix stupid.
It's not my circus.
You can't.
It's true.
You just can't
It's
fix
like,
stupid.
what?
All right, with that being said, I asked John Allegra, how much? And he says it would not be more than $3,500. And I said, could be done by the end of June.
Gary Peterson's
Oh,
here.
is that Gary Peterson?
That's me.
Gary?
Hi,
Sorry,
just listening.
That's right. So it's 3,500.
that was for you.
Wouldn't be any more than 3,500 with a nice railing. But I asked him if he could get it done by the end of June, because that's what and his response was, not sure on timing, but if the association wants to do it, I could probably push it somewhere into June. Thanks again and have a great weekend. Well, I don't have to say that, I guess. So he could probably get it done.
If you want it done before June, you're talking about taking out of properties for this
Yeah.
year.
Well,
And he's talking about, maybe not having started, not completing it till after June,
no, it'd be done.
could be done before June 30.
That's what we said into June,
That's,
right? Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'll call him tomorrow and say, you know, depending on what you guys vote on, and what you want to do. I do have some money left in properties. I don't know, Julie was talking about some tree limbs, but I don't know whatever happened with that.
Oh, I'm supposed to look on the map. Is that a tree? Do you know which one tree she's
No, I
talking
didn't,
about?
I haven't looked at it. I haven't had time to look
I
at it.
can show you.
All right. Yeah, and I have-
Actually, it was a member that brought it up to her and I. And they're like, come on, stand under it. And it's like hanging right over the parking lot. So they were just worried if it fell in.
All right. Well, that's what I mean. Right now, I think I have roughly 3,500, roughly in that area, give or take $100 left in the property budget.
Right. So where's this money gonna come from for the walkway?
Well, it could come out of properties, but I mean, if I need to spend anything, I would like to,
We don't need to wipe you out either.
But if it's till June, I mean, how much?
Yeah, but how much,
Was it
what do you
reading his
foresee?
budget line?
I would like to keep, you know, $500 or $600 back. And if I don't use it, I don't use it, but I mean, I know I still have to buy tires.
Sorry.
Tire tube, right, yeah.
I have to buy garbage bags. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
right. You can't be down to zero.
It's not good to leave him with
Right,
nothing.
right.
Yeah.
What I mean, just keep it.
Right.
Yeah. If I have 3,500, take, I don't know, take 27 and find the other 700 somewhere, you know, but and that's up, again, you guys have to decide what you want to do. Let me know what you want to do. And we'll move forward from there.
Okay.
Is
Is a question though, is that a not to exceed 3,500?
That's a John Allegra. It won't be more than 35.
Yeah.
Thanks and happy to help. I'm thinking about 3,500 max. Okay.
Yeah,
With a railing.
Yeah.
Okay.
good deal.
Okay.
Yeah, he's good with this. I mean,
And it's
my
nice
experience,
that
he's on target.
they're freeform cement.
It's
Yeah.
like the right of,
Like the right of way.
the walkway
By
over
Little
there.
Beach.
Yeah.
I'm gonna still call it right. of way,
I know,
sorry.
we're all learning, we're all learning. We'll go back, at some point.
All right. And with that being said,
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
that's all good. With that being said, with the project that was down on Third Beach, was there a vote for over $1,000? Don't answer, don't have to answer. I just want you to think. We'll talk about it later after I leave. Was there a vote for the over the $1,000? Was there a contract written up? And was there an insurance paperwork from John to do the job? I don't want to know the answers. I already know all the answers.
you do?
Oh, absolutely, I do.
So when it-
So it doesn't matter.
It would be the same thing on this proposed project here. You'd have to have a contract. You'd have to have.
So There was voted on, the board approved it.
Okay.
The $2,500. The, contract was between John Sokolowski and John Allegra. And the invoice went, everything went through John Sokolowski.
Are we saying the contract has to be written or can it be a verbal contract?
We never said, we have not set our contract procurement policy
Okay,
yet.
So John telling Phil, it's not gonna be less than, or it's not gonna be more than 35, is that considered a contract?
Max 3,500.
Is that considered a contract?
I would say that's considered a contract.
In the-
However, like I said, we have not set our procurement policy yet.
We talked about a lot.
We
we
talked
didn't
about a
set
lot,
it.
but that hasn't been set yet. Going out for contract, anything over 5,000, we talked about. We haven't talked about what exactly we are requiring.
Well, you said it, I believe, what I'm understanding, anything over $1,000 has to go to the board and you gotta vote on it,
And we voted.
Correct,
right?
correct,
then
and we
then
voted
a
on it.
contract should be written, I would assume.
That wasn't a deciding
I
factor.
don't think that
Well,
was.
I mean, it was when I had the fans done, because everybody said there was no contract and there was no insurance.
But the fans, when it first started out, Phil,
Mhm.
were over $5,000.
They were,
And that's why a contract was required.
right?
You had gotten two, and the board was waiting for the third.
Mhm.
And then the next thing the board knew, it was done.
Right.
So that was why it was different. So yes, the board was waiting for a contract because initially we didn't know you had gotten one that was under 35 or under 5,000.
5, right?
The communication didn't happen there.
Right.
So the board's sitting here waiting.
You don't have to explain it, Laura, you don't have to explain it, I'm just.
But does
trying
that
to
make
point out-
sense to you?
It does, but I mean, it wasn't a budgeted item also, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's, the lights kind of, it was, they weren't, you know, this wasn't a budget. Things happen at the end of the year, things happen throughout the year, is what I'm trying to say. And I know that you guys, communication is a wonderful thing.
Yes,
I
it
love
is.
communication. I communicate too much sometimes. But this whole, stick, you know, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this, it's hard. It's just hard.
It is hard, and this, this board is a newer board, and we're trying to set some policies, and we're trying to set some things so that it's not, things aren't different.
So to make it easy, as of right now, anything less than $5,000, you do not need a written contract. As of right now, because we haven't made that
Well, we
decision
didn't
yet.
say, yeah. but-
Right, we have,
So my point, man, is Third Beach and what Phil's proposing here is less than 5,000, so there's no need for a written contract at this point. If the board decides at $1,500, you need a written contract, we haven't gotten there yet,
well,
though.
I think the thing is
So
too,
we don't, I don't want to beat.
But it
to
needs
death,
from
but-
each board approval.
Right,
Right.
and it's gone through that path.
so, and I think we're talking about John Allegra. We know he's licensed, we know he's insured.
Right.
We're not
Right.
talking
Well,
about,
except when I brought that up at a meeting, I was shot down because I was told, well, I had a friend who did my roof. And I found out that he let his insurance lapse because he couldn't afford it. And, you don't know until you have it in your hand.
right.
Right, there was issues. Listen, I'm
We
not trying to start.
we should, no matter who it is,
Oops, sorry.
whether it's our friend John Allegra or not, say at the
Policy
beginning of the
is policy,
season,
right.
it's a standard policy, we don't mean to offend you. Please, and I mean,
Right.
blame it our insurance company.
Right,
Is
well,
that-
no, it should
I
be.
understand,
for
but
our
it's just
insurance
schmoozing them, that, please give us your certificate of insurance, we keep it in the kitty, and now we have it.
We had problems
Right.
going back when I was running properties before Gary took over.
Right.
Pete Doyle, great guy, loved him, but he
Insurance,
he just didn't have insurance.
that's right.
He just didn't have insurance, simple as that.
Right.
So we ran into troubles back then, and it's good to be a little more proactive and. Go ahead, I'm done.
No, we talked about a lot of it, but nothing was set in stone.
Right.
That's right.
That was my
Okay,
point.
and what Phil was bringing it up was because I think he wanted to make, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, Phil,
Mhm.
make the board aware that none of that seems to have been followed by the rules that we had discussed that weren't yet put in place. So I think everybody, am I right?
Did you say that again?
Yeah.
That was.
No, I mean, seriously.
So I
So
wonder-
if we talked about all of this stuff and we
Right.
talked about it to death, but nothing was put in place, and
Right.
we harped on the rules about getting quotes and over this amount and under that amount, and it was confusing as all get out. And I think what Phil was bringing to the table, and again, tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Is that from where he sat, he didn't know that any of that was done in this circumstance. Now,
Right.
you then said, we voted on it as a board, it was approved as a board, it was a contract between John and John, and they handled it, and the invoice was handled appropriately, but there are no official rules in place, and I think that's the answer Phil was looking for.
There's no official rules in place for an actual contract yet, and that we have, that's.
Like, what is the
another-
definition of a contract? Is it verbal, or is it?
Correct,
Right.
correct. So
So,
that
okay.
we're working on.
Am I wrong?
The $1,000 limitation on spending for anybody
Yep,
has to come to the board.
right,
If it's not if it's not a line item in
Unless
their
it's a line-
budget.
Right.
right,
All right.
Anything over
moving along.
5,000
Yeah.
needs 3 bids.
yeah. No, no,
Unless it's waived.
right.
Yeah.
I'm aware of that. I was just trying to,
Yeah, no, you,
I understood what he said. I understood exactly what
well,
he
look, we
said.
just kept talking about it. That's why I wanted to just make sure that it was understood, because
I think it was
we can
handled
move on.
perfectly fine. It was handled perfectly fine. I mean, granted, we didn't define contract verbal versus written, but
Right.
we handled it in the
So that
procedural way that we put forth.
that should be a priority for the board going forward to get that stuff finalized.
Right.
Agreed.
All right.
All right, next, I got 2 more and I'm done. I talked to Chris this morning, All Waste.
Yeah.
He's going
Yes.
to give us a contract hopefully next week
Oh, good.
to look at.
That was my
And
next question for you.
If I get it, I'll give it to you or whatever it works. I will be looking, I mean, I don't know how you guys want to do it, because I don't know how things are happening. I'm hoping we can do another bid waiver for Chris with the garbage. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
I had an instance where a family, the 2 kids were riding their bikes and Chris says, you're riding your bikes with helmets on, you guys are doing safety, and he gave them $1 each.
Mm.
So I mean,
I remember
it's
Norman
not
telling me
gonna-
at the time.
No, he's a good guy. We
Right.
all know that.
and I'm not saying, I'm not,
No.
it's just,
Right.
I
That's what
just
kind
think
of
it's,
person he is.
I mean, and not to, I don't like to say it like this, but I don't know how else to say it. If you want 3 bids, I will not be doing that. You could have somebody else to do it. I just can't do it.
Okay,
We
but
can
you
send
will
it.
send Chris's?
Yeah.
You will send Chris's to me?
Yes.
Chris's? Okay.
Yeah, no, I'll get everything for you.
It's a well-established fact.
Yeah, and I think we already talked about
Yeah.
that. That's a perfect example of where the bid waiver comes into
Perfect.
play.
Yep.
Right, but we also have a couple of board members that don't agree with that, so we need to,
Okay.
when everybody's here, and I'm hoping, our next meeting that we have to conclude that.
Right.
Chris has taken very good care of us over the years.
Is he doing 1 pickup this summer or 2?
One,
Just
Oh,
one,
he's not-
Friday,
We're not
Monday?
doing,
No.
Mondays,
we're not doing Fridays anymore.
no, Mondays only, all the way through, right? We're not doing 2 pickups this summer.
It's,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not
so-
changing
Well, you
until
gotta,
next
it all
year, right?
depends,
What the
it
contract
works
says.
until June.
Right.
But then
But I
whatever,
thought going forward, you changed that to once.
I did not.
Oh,
I
I
was
thought you
going to-
did.
You just moved the
Right. It's-
I was gonna work on it. I was gonna ask them about it, but I don't know how you guys wanna do it.
If
I
we're
mean,
doing
I'll
Monday,
get the
if we're
contract.
doing Monday pickups, all right, my opinion is once a week should be enough. Because when I was just here on the weekends, right, when I was still working, you come in Friday, or you go home Sunday, I ended up taking trash home with me because if I left my garbage can out front, the dogs had it all over the place. So I think once a week is enough as long as it's on Monday.
I think once a week is enough myself. I mean, I think the world goes on once a week myself, but I'm not sure. But I will say, how much is it gonna save us? I don't
That's
know.
what I was gonna
Could
ask.
you ask Chris for a price for once a week on Mondays
Yeah.
and then twice?
Okay,
Cool.
yeah, I'll do that.
Okay,
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
perfect.
And
Thank you.
also, and even with the landscaper, we have him for a while now too. He called me on Friday and said, Phil, there's a set of keys down here on the picnic table. What do you want me to do? And I said, I'm coming right down. They were my keys. They were there for like 2 days.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's stuff that we get from these guys.
Right.
It's nice to have a rapport with these people. That's what I'm trying
I
to say
agree.
here.
So how many years are you talking with Chris? 2 years?
Yeah,
3
he
years?
only goes 2 years.
He has 2? Okay.
Yeah, he only does 2.
Well, that's fair. I didn't know.
Yeah, so like I said, I don't know if you want me to negotiate with him or talk to him, or I don't know what you want me to do. I'll give you the contract and you can look it over and have somebody write it up, whatever you want to do.
All right, yeah, just ask him once, a price for once and
Okay,
in the summer.
all right. Let's go on to our favorite subject, the porta potties.
All right.
Um,
Yes,
I did, I called I was on vacation last week. And I called him because I have them open for Mother's Day. So I called James up and I said, James, would you do it early for me? He said, absolutely, Phil. So he came and opened up a week early, and they've been left open. As you know, when he did come down to clean them, Second Beach, somebody took the lock off. Somebody knew the combination to that lock. And that thing was pretty full and it was disgusting.
How?
Who knows?
Who knows? I don't know. But I did, as I sent the email out to everybody, that we changed I had changed all the combination locks that we have throughout there's quite a few, 2024. Oh, shit, I'll be changing them again tomorrow.
I would,
Just send us an email. What do you do?
Phil, I couldn't get my mouth open fast.
Did you say you changed them in 2024?
Yes, they were changed.
Yeah, I changed them in 2024.
Anyway.
We'll work on that.
That wasn't quick enough.
Smoking the cigar.
Yeah, you did a fantastic job with opening, keeping everything clean there.
Yeah.
With this letter, I'll give you my 2 cents with it. I go walking when I'm not here in the wintertime in Wallingford. I go walking, and they take all their porta potties away. Also, I think most of these companies take them all away. I'm not sure. I'm not positive, but I know in Wallingford they clear them all up.
They don't need to be open in the winter months.
So what about asking, so this person there's a lot of ice fishers, there's a lot of, what about asking for this member, if we kept one open at First Beach,
No.
and
You're looking for trouble, Lori.
you think so?
Yep.
If the ice fishermen want a porta potty, they can rent it for the day.
There's
And
one
put it
at
out
the
in the parking
state
lot.
launch.
Oh, yeah. Is that open year round?
Oh, that's
There you
good
go.
to know.
There's your answer.
I was going to
Is there?
Dunkin' Donuts.
It's there.
They're all year though.
I believe so. The construction guys have been using it.
I don't.
I'm pretty sure.
You're peeping Tom.
You see here the beeps coming in. And right there.
Yeah, I know there is one over there. I just don't know how long they leave it up, but I kind of agree.
Pretty sure it's your.
Not-
They're owned by us. If they weren't owned by us, it'd be a different story. But because then if something happens, then they get replaced by the company that you lease them from.
If it's open, we're liable.
Regardless
Regardless of who owns them.
how many residents are here year round besides you? And you?
And you?
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's like 20.
It's about a third of the residents.
Yeah, right, okay.
And I've had a few people ask, but this person formally wrote a letter.
Selfishly, I would use them if they were available, but I understand why they weren't.
Well, it's like saying the summer people can't go home,
Can't go, how far are you from your home? You
I
can't
mean,
go home to
before-
use your bathroom.
but same thing with
Mine shut
the
down.
summer people.
Before
The
we
seasonal
bought
people,
the
what,
ones
they
we
can't
have
go home?
now,
We
they
have
took them
porta
away.
potties.
I think
The reason why, you're gonna remember this, the
Yeah.
reason why the porta potties came into existence is when we had the E. coli issue.
Oh, in the lake.
Yeah.
And the state came down and said that because the little girl got deathly sick, remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard about
Yeah.
that. I heard
I mean,
about that.
we're the old timers here.
Yeah.
Kids are peeing in the lake.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's the reason why allegedly some
Right.
organization, some state facility told us that you have to have porta potties.
And that's what this member mentioned for the health of the lake, blah, 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 because
Well, I don't know.
Because
about
I
that.
look at the person on Second Beach, if they didn't have the combo to that porta potty, where would they have been
Right.
They
going?
would have figured it out.
Yeah.
They would have figured it out.
That's how
we've all been there.
porta potties came into existence at the lake.
And up until, when did we buy those?
Well, I don't know.
About 5 years ago, I'll
6
say.
years
It was a couple of years before I came.
They took them away every year
Right.
and we put
Exactly.
them back. They were
Right.
gone. So I'm absolutely against leaving them open.
I agree.
Yeah, yes.
That's something you guys can discuss later
Yeah.
on at a later date,
Yeah.
but, that's all I have. If anybody got any questions or?
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Phil.
They
I had a
shut
great
the
crew.
lake- They shut the moment they shut the lake down. They shut the lake down, and you couldn't even go in.
I heard about that little girl.
I love it when I call people and they respond to me. I had a great crew on Saturday.
Sorry.
I don't know if that's strong or not. I could put an email or a thing out on Facebook, thanking them, because all the guys are fantastic. And the one woman that we had.
It was wet though, man. It was cold and wet by the time we got home.
Yeah, it was cold and wet, and there was only, one boat being used because, somebody backed out, or two people backed out, I'm not gonna say who they were. But it still went smooth, we were done by 11 o'clock in the morning. So that's that, so I got, any questions?
Thank you for your hard work.
I orchestrate. You guys did it all.
Thank you.
Good.
Oh, I do have one thing for you, sorry. The no trespassing,
Yeah.
signs for the playground.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that a little bit. So everybody saw the response from the attorney on the playground. That report came out and made us liable. That
Right.
playground needs no trespassing signs.
this is part of property.
Playground is
Okay.
closed.
Sorry. My 2 cents. Get another professional in here to give us another update on it.
Disputer.
Even if you get another one, because one already
I
said these
understand
things.
that. I understand.
I'd like a second opinion.
Well, we'll have to see how much it costs to get a second opinion, I would imagine. But in that same token, we're gonna talk about in new business, forming a committee.
But that report was based off of current code.
Right.
And if you go to every playground and every state park and everywhere, they're not up to current code. Because they would have to modify them every 6 months when they
Right.
change the code.
That may be well and true, but the fact that we actually have this report. in
Fair,
our
but the
hands.
code said, okay, fine, I understand, I'm not disputing.
And that's what the attorney said.
Right, no, that's
Exactly what I'm saying.
But I don't, okay, I think we should find out what it costs to get somebody else to come in and look at it. And assess it, not based on current code, because it was built 30 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense though. You have to pay some on current code.
Well, if you're gonna reconstruct something, if you're gonna build something new, it's based on, look at our houses aren't to current code.
No, but when you make a,
So-
if you hire someone to make a modification, that's done to current.
That is
code.
done to current
That's
code.
right.
Well, I'm not
No,
saying
yeah.
hire somebody to get a modification,
Right.
I'm saying, okay, well,
Well, that's
the reason I think it's gonna be a very, I mean, it's already being talked about on Facebook.
Contentious.
So it's gonna be
It is.
contentious, and there are already people saying, what do we need pickleball courts for? When we don't have a playground for our kids, and I see both sides.
We've been down
So,
this road
so we're,
before.
yeah, so we're gonna talk about it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So the playground committee will be charged with doing that. So all these people that are talking on Facebook need to put their money where their mouth is, volunteer.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
2, our tennis pickleball court is a $300,000 asset. The membership already voted to have that repaired so that we don't have to spend $300,000 to put a new one in.
Right, yeah.
So you're talking apples and oranges here.
Well, yes, but what they're talking about is they're advocating for their interests because maybe they don't play pickleball and they.
And
want
that's
to.
okay.
And that's fine,
That's
right?
fair, that's
That's,
fair.
and that's all I'm saying.
That's fair.
I'm not saying that it's not $300,000
Let's
asset.
see
I'm
what
not
we-
saying we shouldn't do that. We definitely should.
Right.
But I'm saying that this topic is going to be contentious, which I think if we have the committee, we can address all the issues
Right.
and put it all out there.
Yep.
But back to
Absolutely.
the issue at hand with the no trespassing signs, does that end our liability if we say no trespassing, playground closed? Is that it?
It doesn't end our liability per se, but if somebody enters that, they're a trespasser. They're not, we're telling them, you can't use this. This is not up to code. You're gonna get hurt.
Okay,
If they, it's just like crossing caution tape.
sure.
And
Well, that's what
an
they're doing.
email blast and a newsletter saying, don't use this. And maybe some common sense looking at it going, no, maybe not so much the playground because it's in a little better condition.
I'm sure that's
I
gonna
hear
be
that.
it's gonna be a good discussion for June to look for volunteers to get involved in the committee.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, we have to close it off and we have to get the signs, and that's what the whole point of this.
So I don't know, are you thinking like maybe two signs or?
I mean,
three?
I was gonna ask how many you wanted.
I mean,
Is it worth tying it to the actual physical structure and, block it like they all did in COVID?
maybe, I don't know. I mean, we'd have to go look.
I moved the caution tape today.
From what? From the playground? Oh,
Yeah.
It was,
Has the board go down there and look at
Can
it? all?
I did.
Can I make a suggestion? We've got all that orange fencing that we used during Lake Cave, we put on the kitchen in Lake Cave, for Carnival.
Oh, yeah.
Is there enough there?
Wrap it up.
Just go
Oh.
around the perimeter with that orange fencing close.
That's a good idea,
No.
Dave.
Yeah. Because caution tape,
Well, that was a band-aid.
Well, that's why we want to put the
Right.
signs,
Right,
get
that was
the
a,
signs
that was
made.
an emergency Band-Aid.
yeah.
Right.
Right,
I mean, I think we're
Was
good.
that-
Said you walked down there and did it that night.
I want to go over the top here a little bit. That's my opinion. We're going over the top a little bit. I think that's gonna look like crap. I wouldn't want to look at that for summer long. That's my opinion only.
Yeah.
So let's get the signs. Let's get 3 signs.
Get 3 signs, you put the signs up, and if people
1, 2,
go on it, it's like going into the lake if they drowned. Are we responsible? No. You know what I mean? It's the same.
Right, somebody could try to sue us, however,
That-
the likelihood of them being successful is not good.
Right. So I mean, it's just.
Now it is.
Eh.
Right now it is.
All right.
Okay, so it's settled. We're gonna get the signs.
Also,
3 signs.
regarding the lake, you also have no lifeguard on duty signs.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so the key thing is if we think that that report was somehow wrong or inaccurate, which we don't, it was a
Right.
certified individual who did it.
Correct.
And-
Verbiage is important.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the reason we
There were
have
circumstances to it.
police take note
What's that?
on harm of something. That's there for a reason.
Sure.
Such as what?
He was training somebody.
Okay, so would that mean it was more lax or more stringent?
No, it
More
means that
stringent.
we didn't ask for it.
So that's like being borderline pregnant.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're either pregnant or you're not. And so if it's stringent, it means it was more up to code standards.
Have you been down there to look at it, Jeff?
Yeah, but I'm not an expert. Are you?
It's not that bad.
I'm not an expert.
But it's not the code.
But it's not the
That's
code.
point.
I understand.
All right.
I get it.
I don't
I'm not here to argue. Whatever you guys decide, let me know.
Whatever happened with the last
Science.
committee we had? We had a committee, we had a
So I will
playground
tell you,
committee.
so it
It
wound up
died.
being 1 member only,
Okay.
and it was too much for her, and understandably, it was
Okay.
over the top. A couple of people had joined the committee, and then they dropped off, and
It's too much for one person. I
Yes,
agree.
and-
All right, so we agree that 3 signs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, but.
right,
Right.
We're-
So,
we're getting a little
3
talking
signs
over.
and we're gonna start a committee.
Yes,
And the
well,
membership can step up and it'll be brought up in the June meeting.
so in, new
Might as well
business,
just cover that part now and then.
in new
double back,
business,
but-
Yeah.
we'll form the,
Okay.
and I will send out an email blast.
See you all.
Bye,
Have a good
bye.
night.
Good luck.
They're,
Oh, yeah. Don't stress, Phil.
oh, it's lights on, outside. Hold on. Oh, excuse me, a moment. I think everybody's doing a good job of trying not to talk over each other. I know we have been using the hand raising, but and some have, but, we're doing okay.
I just have one final comment. When we got that email, I remember reading an email that there was this other mystery company that I think that lady contacted
Correct,
that gave his opinion, who was a contractor.
correct. It was an opinion though.
Okay, no, but he was a guy that does it for a living.
Right, but he
Right.
never actually did a report.
Right, so the issue here.
So maybe we need to contact that individual.
And maybe the playground committee needs to do that.
Correct.
Right.
So there was,
Yeah, right, yeah.
indirectly, there was another mystery person involved in this.
When we form a
Right.
committee,
And
they're gonna start from scratch.
Right, but the issue here is, from a legal issue, is that we now have a written document. If we
I'm
didn't have a written
We're on
document,
the same page.
if we didn't have a written document, we wouldn't be talking about this
Okay.
right now.
We're not saying, don't worry about it. You know, we're agreeing that it needs to be done.
Absolutely,
Move it along.
absolutely.
Move it along.
Okay, so everybody, does everybody understand John Sokolowski's, position? He is our liaison with Public Works for erosion only. So the way he describes it is Phil is from the curb in on the beach and he's from the curb out. And I'm saying that more for the public.
Yeah.
Um,
Don do a great job.
Yes, he will. He's doing an awesome job. We did have a meeting with Public Works. There is a plan in place. How quickly it will happen, don't know, but they're gonna start up top. It's probably gonna take 2 or 3 years. There needs to be money, there needs to be personnel. I understand that there's a lot of residents that approach the workers.
Right.
And there's actually a worker or 2 that is apprehensive to come from Public Works because they've been,
Accosted.
yeah, I know, but yeah, so I'm just
They're
saying,
trying
like,
to reach you by your car's one.
you know, if anybody hears anything like that, I
Right.
mean, that's rough. Because we don't want to scare our public works
People need to understand it took 40 years to get us where we are today with the runoff situation. It's not going to be an overnight fix.
No,
It's going to take years to fix it.
but
And
Michelle
money.
Velez seems very
And money.
committed and, you know, she's actually having a, survey done of the entire town. She hired a contractor to survey all the roads, and then she's going to try to go for a grant. So she's really on top of it. We just have to be
Good,
patient.
Good, all right.
It was a good meeting. Okay, so, everybody knows the North Reserve Beach is open. Phil just said that. Third Beach repairs. So Third Beach repair, the North Reserve and, First Beach in totality were $3,300. So the 500 and the 300 didn't come back to the board because it was under 1,000, added on to Third Beach.
All right.
Got it.
Okay? I'm just
Yep.
telling for awareness.
Yep.
So that's kind of where John is at. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. Technology, I really have nothing. Does anybody have anything?
What's Yahoo email?
Oh, so originally, so Yahoo was Lex. Do you remember the constant contact thing we had where we had to self-authenticate?
Nope.
My daughter and I did it.
Well, thanks for telling the webmaster.
Oh, I did. We talked about it a long time
No,
ago.
no,
I did tell you.
Yeah, I just don't know what you're talking about.
So, and I knew that. So, but we did talk about it
Yeah,
a
yeah,
couple times.
right.
So we had to self-authenticate with our domain name so that when our emails go out on constant contact, people's email will still receive it and not send it straight to junk or bounce it.
Yeah, okay.
So we did that with our lakehaywardct.com. Yahoo didn't do it. So whenever we were trying to email somebody with a Yahoo email address, it was bouncing and it only did it for like a day. So that's why I put it on there because it was happening then, but they fixed it. So you were able to email Yahoo now. Yes. Okay.
A quick question, Lori. Before tonight's over, we need to talk about the money issue with Phil and he said he's got so much money in the bank. Who's going to fund the rest of that project?
So what I'd like to do is Phil has contractual obligations and he has, which we know, right? And then I want to look and see. So right now it's saying he has $9,999. Half of that's
Yeah.
contractual, but I want to look and see.
Yeah, right,
So
right.
I'll send out an email and say we have money here, here, whatever.
Okay, right.
And then we can all,
Handle that in an email.
yes.
That's fine.
Is that
I
okay?
just don't want it to let go, I just don't want to forget about it.
Nope, absolutely not.
All right.
I just
My goose money.
want to look at what we
Sure,
have
yeah.
in the,
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it for technology. Water testing, it's not happening yet.
Actually, I'm meeting, my bad, didn't realize it started in June. I thought it was July and August. So I am meeting Lisa Long tomorrow morning. Supposedly I have to go 3 feet into the water, but not sure that's gonna happen.
Might be over.
Yes, 3 feet. If you don't go 3 feet, you're going to get,
Get along pole.
I know, but I think I want the water to be a little warmer.
Get on your,
Anyway,
get on
the
your,
first
get on
test
your
day,
hybrid pedal boat.
I don't know, after the guys were in the water Saturday, putting the ladders on the rafts.
64 degrees.
Yeah.
I saw kids in the
Oh,
water
10
tonight,
10
but
water
anyway,
maker.
first testing date will
Yeah.
be Friday.
Yeah.
okay.
Ted posted on
And-
Facebook, he was there, it was cold.
Because I didn't take into consideration that water testing happened in June and I'm going away the end of June, beginning of July. Lynn Chrissy is meeting Lynn, Lisa Long and I tomorrow morning, so she will cover for me those 2 dates.
Can I make a suggestion? And I don't know what we use, but they do make long-handed dippers. So see what Lisa's using, and that might be something that you might want to invest
Yeah.
in.
Dennis can just fashion you
We
up.
were,
like it was
we were
well done.
comparing where 3
Yeah,
feet
that's-
went on us the other night.
Yeah. So you can use a long-handed dipper, and it'll buy you a foot or two.
But you have to go, yeah.
Yeah.
I will go in the water,
Okay.
not a problem.
You gotta get yourself some hip waders,
Or the,
then you won't get wet.
I've got a paddleboat with an electric motor on it.
Oh, okay, there you go, it's even better.
oh, never mind.
That's
All right.
Swimming.
All right.
Webmaster?
Yes, please.
What do you want to know? The webmaster is master.
I'm sorry, I did get back to you late on that email, but we've been a little busy.
No, it's fine.
So if you want to get together and chat,
Yeah, we can. I mean, I've been looking at the site and going, what, where are things? And none of it. But like I said,
your suggestions were good. You were like on it. So
so yeah, we
So-
can talk offline. But I don't have anything to report as far as an official report. I'm posting things when they're getting sent to me by anyone who sends them to me. And I think they're as timely as I can get them posted, they're getting posted.
phone number, I think you can put
Yeah.
mine now.
Well, I think when we revamp, there just has to be like on the main page, there has to be like, Board of Governors contact, president at, and then a phone number. Well,
A few years ago, we decided as a board not to put phone numbers
That's right.
on the
sure,
webpage.
but can I make a
I do
suggestion?
not want
Well,
my
no,
phone
but
number
let me,
on the
but let me
webpage.
just address that. You
Not yours.
you get a simple voice over internet phone.
Okay.
Right.
I don't know what they cost, but you could probably get a phone line with a voicemail where somebody can call and the president could then check the voicemail on a weekly basis or
Wait, do
whatever.
we still have a phone line down the pavilion?
Nope, gone.
Okay, because I said you could have used that.
Just got rid of
Yeah,
No,
okay,
well, the
okay.
phone line is gone, right?
Right.
But,
phone
but
line, the
there's,
voicemail, and the static IP are gone.
right, but there's gotta be some internet protocol where you can get a dummy number. Like I have a fax machine that's all on the internet. Like you can get a phone number that's, then it'll stay Lake Hayward's phone number. I don't know what it costs, but
All right.
we can look into it. And it's just there's no phone. The
Right,
answer,
right,
it's
yep,
just like
yep.
leave a message.
Yeah.
And then that way nobody's personal information is out there because that was what Bonnie, said, when I Google, it comes up in the Google business thing with her phone number.
Right,
She's
right.
like, I occasionally will get a phone call from somebody who wants information.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, her name was still on a couple of things. Cindy's name was still on a couple of things.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
found that was all internet, and I don't know the proper terminology, maybe I'm a bad webmaster here, but things get stuck in the internet. They're like in the queue, like you can't get rid of some things.
Right.
They're like, I forget the word. They're there and you can't get rid of them. But at least we can.
Embedded.
Maybe, I don't know. They're just there.
Yeah.
So
All right.
like I just searched and I found an old Pula webpage from years ago. And it was the contact page, but it was like, I tried to click on stuff from there and it would just said,
So do you want me to ask my daughter about what we're talking about?
no, because,
The phone thing.
oh yeah, if you want to. I mean, it's just a matter of finding out where can you get a phone line with a voicemail. I don't know what it's gonna cost.
Do I need to see you tomorrow? Or you
I'm
gonna-
just,
For the-
let's talk offline about this because
Call
I'm,
me tomorrow. Well, yeah,
I'm here all
tomorrow
day
or
tomorrow.
whenever, this week.
all right, I will. Cause, I'm thinking if we do that,
I'm
Craig,
retired now.
and I only check it once a week, what if it's something that's a little more, usually if someone's calling and not emailing.
Here's what I'll say to that. Here's what I'll say to that.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good
for
night.
Good night,
Thank you.
It hasn't been an issue yet. So if somebody needs to get like,
Right.
so, but at least now we're giving somebody,
An avenue.
because Bonnie even said, I'm like, well, there's emails. And she's like, well, not everybody uses email.
Right.
I said, okay, so we have to accommodate the 5 people that don't use email in 2024.
Right.
Okay, fine. So let's research what it costs.
Okay.
If it's $20 a month, it's stupid money, but
Right, it's an avenue.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll talk offline more about that stuff.
Okay.
All right, oh boy,
10 minutes.
48. Well, at least it just left, and this was the one I was gonna send her, so,
And I had a question.
yeah.
call her back.
Yeah.
No.
She needed to answer that question. Bylaws was next.
Yes.
So do you want me to say what I gotta say?
Can you come back for 2 seconds? Sorry, go.
Lori?
Wait, if she's gonna come,
Yeah.
Hey, this is Chris. I know that we're running short on time, but I have a couple of items that I'd like the board to vote on tonight if possible. Thanks, over.
okay, thank you, Chris.
My
Did
thing
she
on the
answer
my thing on the bylaws is,
But
do
there's-
we typically send them out without showing the revisions?
We don't.
So,
It's the first time I've ever seen it like
Okay,
that.
because it was very, for me, fine. For my husband, not so much.
Wasn't good for me either.
And to not
Yeah,
know,
because you got to hold two. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not gonna, I really don't want to answer for Lisa and Colleen.
I just want to put it out there.
And I know you did, you sent
And we
emails,
talked
Dave
about
sent an email,
Yeah.
and maybe 5 members sent emails.
You get it.
Uh,
Hope we didn't get too far.
So bylaws question.
That's fine, but if you say you're gonna take something offline and then keep talking about it, I'm gonna leave again. Just saying.
Okay.
Offline.
You guys keep doing that all night long. Let's take it offline and.
All right, so let's
Okay,
go.
yeah.
So Evelyn and Dave had questions about bylaws. I said, I'm not gonna answer. it. I'm gonna leave it to you and Colleen because you,
Colleen's not here, so I'll give you the best I got.
All right.
My question is, I don't remember it being common that the bylaws revisions were sent out without showing the revisions.
Right.
So
And
the
I think
bylaws-
that makes it very difficult for people at the June meeting to say whether they approve
What's the change?
or
Right.
reject the changes, because
Yeah.
unless you sit and compare,
Usually in the past, Lisa, we've seen them, those highlighted in yellow, what the change was.
I know, because I did the last bylaws.
Yeah, right. I
And we
know
made
you
a
did.
conscious decision, every time we furnished the bylaws to y'all, we did it in 2 documents. The one we're gonna use and the one we're lining out. So if we weren't clear on that, I apologize, but we sent out the one we're going to put out because an official document, a good draft document, because it causes the reader to look at your bylaws. If you want to just go red line, well, then you're not reading your bylaws. You're not looking at the rest of the bylaws. You're not absorbing the rest of the bylaws. So, and I'm going to say this, Evelyn, I remember a meeting where you sat there and said, I don't know what the bylaws are. So for that reason, what's one of the reasons?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if a board member doesn't know what one of the bylaws are, we did it in a fashion where read them. Now you know what the bylaws are. As
But you
far
don't
as
know
the
what the changes
public
are.
going to the June meeting,
Yeah.
I would hope that they had the same thing. And I would hope that, okay, well, if they're that interested in the bylaws, then they have a means by which to go on the website and look at the current bylaws and do a stare and compare, because that's how we did it. And that's how everybody did it, every week. We left those meetings and did stare and compares.
Right.
So I don't find stare and compares all that difficult, but that's the reason why we decided to do it that way, because people should know their bylaws. I mean, you make it sailor smart and say, oh, look for the red mark. That's what we changed. Don't look at anything else because it's actually saying, but now you've created a means by which you read the bylaws, and a lot of them have merit off of each other.
Right.
So that's why we did it that way. But we did it on purpose. I apologize if we didn't make that clear when we were presenting both.
Right.
We probably should have
Yeah,
actually said we're gonna
wasn't-
send this one out, but this one was for you, for the ease of you guys to see this.
For the board.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that when the June meeting, or whenever we discuss the bylaws changes, people are gonna say, well, tell me what the changes are. I'm not gonna read the whole
I
document.
can do that.
Yeah.
If they say, I don't want to read it, I'm gonna give the same dissertation I just did.
That's fine.
The reason it never done was this way, because I would like for you to know the whole bylaws. Because it's a good document
It's
and
a very good document.
It's our governing
Yeah, right,
document.
Right.
I just don't think people are gonna take the time.
clearly, because you did it. I mean, clearly, they don't.
I did because I had it.
Right,
And I
but
was able to highlight it for my husband. He's not gonna sit there and read each and every,
I'm going back to a
Right.
statement you made at a board meeting where you said, I don't even know the bylaws.
you're right, I don't
So
have
that's
to
why, that was
memorize.
one of the reasons why I said, well, then let's put it in a format where people need to know the bylaws. If they don't want to read it, they won't know the bylaws. Is that for me? Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm waiting to. So could we put the mocked up version on the web and just let people know that the mocked up version is there and we
I don't
encourage them
want to do
to?
that. I mean, the whole reason was.
I understand and I agree with your
Yeah.
reasoning, but I also agree that people aren't gonna read the whole damn.
I see both sides of the issue. really
Yeah.
And
do.
I have no problem being at any meeting and answering any questions. I really don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've grown so professionally over the last few months. I mean, and orderly and productive. That goes along, that what we did, I feel goes along with that.
Is it, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking, people who are engaged, that makes sense, but we have a lot of residents who are older now.
Yep.
And they're just gonna want to know what the changes are. And I'm thinking,
And I'll be there. Cause I
Okay.
mean, those
Yeah.
even, Dave,
You know
those
what
people,
I'm getting at?
yeah, and I'm fine.
Yeah,
And I have
yeah.
no problem. I don't think any question is stupid. I
No,
have
I
no
don't
problem
either.
answering the question. I'm not gonna
Right.
scold anybody.
Right.
But, if somebody asks me why we did it this way, then this is the answer.
And
And
this
I
is
would
not-
hope future bylaw revision people do it the same way. Why go backwards?
as
I mean-
long as they're able to get an answer, that should be good enough, I guess.
Okay.
Thank you, Lisa.
All
Yeah,
right.
thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
Go to bed.
We won't call you back.
I'll call you back.
We won't call you back. No, you.
Right, I'm gonna zip through now because,
Yeah, we got Chris has to talk too, so.
right, that's why I want to zip through.
Right.
So budget, first meet and greet is happening this Wednesday, with the budget committee. And Craig, I haven't gotten the budget committee members' names to you yet because I want to find a chair first.
There's one right here.
Thank you. Put that on the website. Chair.
That's fine. Whenever you get them to me, I'll post them wherever you want me to.
So I'm hoping that I'll get
Yep,
that figured out
that's
Wednesday night. Dam, we're not gonna talk about unless anybody wants to talk about it.
You've been so quiet.
I don't want.
No,
I forgot you were even here.
Right,
Nothing to say.
right.
All right.
Events, Lynn Butler wanted me to ask you something. Oh, the movie projector.
I emailed her. I think I CC'd you. The projector
You did.
is in my closet.
What did she just say to me?
I don't know.
Hold on. She
I don't
just-
want it downstairs in my basement anymore.
So I have no place to store it either in season or out. Just wanted to let you know that the events calendar is updated. There's nothing to report.
Well, I will
Um,
put it in,
So put it in there for
in the
now.
events closet and you guys can figure it out. I do not want the responsibility of it anymore.
Okay.
In my basement. Cannot be left in that closet over the winter though.
Okay, so we'll figure out by winter.
No, I guess it can't be exposed to extreme
I
temperatures.
could store it if nobody needs to. I mean, we don't need it in the off season. I can store it in my house.
Okay.
Right.
So
My
for
man
now, we'll
cave.
put it in the events. We'll talk about it later.
Yep.
Nominating. Nancy, anything?
No.
Anything for Nancy?
No,
If you want to read the guidelines that were set this year, they're on the drive under nominating. And it highlights everybody that needs to. This is their schedule, if you're interested. John, is rental.
Yeah,
And,
very quickly, we've been meeting since January, developed a draft. But since that time, the state legislature has passed a bill. You heard Lynn and Kim speak to it briefly tonight. It gives the power, at least to municipalities, they're interpreting that as taxing districts also, that we may be able to develop. That was a big concern I
Yeah.
had, is what rights do we have to do that? It's not really in our charter that I could see, not really in the bylaws that I could see that we have the right. So we developed a draft rules and regulations for rentals. Definition of rental, according to one state document, is really being used for taxing purposes, that short-term rentals are less than 30 days. The statute is a little bit more broad than that. They define rentals, it breaks it down, homes, B&Bs. We don't care about any of that stuff. Focusing on homes, it doesn't limit the time of year or the duration. So it could go up to a year if we so choose to accept that definition. But we talked about registration, we talked about rental age, and we did have members of the committee, which totaled 12, that were rentals folks. One of them was Allison Badges, and the other was Mark Demond. And both of them agreed that these were appropriate things for rentals. And I guess by consensus, the rest of us agreed as well. Minimum age 25 for rent, minimum rental period 2 nights. Anything less than that is not permitted. Occupancy of the unit based upon square footage. For instance, 1,000 square feet, maximum people 6. On-street parking, maximum 4, but some lots are pretty small, encumbered by things like vegetation, septic systems, ledge outcropping. You have to demonstrate that you can actually get 4 cars on the property in order to rent and keep 4 vehicles.
well, that's good.
Compliance with the regulations. We talk about things that posting at each of the rental properties, the rules and regulations. Noise ordinance, 10 p.m. maximum. After that, quiet hours. No street parking, parking permitted for each of the residences that are being rented. So upwards of a maximum of 4, possibly down to only a few. Parking passes can be used, have to be used at all of our lots, but there's no overnight parking permitted in any of the lots. 10-mile-an-hour speed limit on the roads. Beach tents and glasses are not permitted on the beach. That's already in our rules and regulations. And the rest of it's in there: fishing, where to fish, where you can't fish, fireworks, and so forth. Failure to comply. We have a maximum that we can fine of $100. It was strangely suggested by the folks that do rent that we charge a fine of $100 for each occurrence for every hour if noise becomes an issue. And then a few other recommendations for the board to consider in the bylaws as well. So I think that's pretty much where we stand. Now, in light of the current statute being passed, we could hold off until October. It really gives us some teeth to do that. I'm still not clear as to whether we are a municipality under the definition of municipality. We're a taxing district.
That's correct.
So I think municipality would be the town. It sounds like they may be apprehensive about imposing a regulation like this. So my feeling is move forward in October with it.
Right. That sounds good.
So, and I can also, obviously the attorney's gonna know that this new statute is coming forth, so I can, run that with him too.
Sure.
So we can talk about that, John.
Okay. That's all I have to say.
And I'm
Thank you.
sure
Except
most
that I'm-
people that are renting have already rented for this season.
That's
Right,
exactly the
right,
point.
right.
We've
We're
already
not gonna be
seen
able
this
to,
And, we suggested a $100 fee beginning next year.
Right.
David, gets to your point. Who's going to sit there and collect all this data?
That's right.
Who's going to enforce this stuff?
Right.
But if you have a regulation, at least you have some teeth.
Right.
Right.
And the good thing is the property that was really giving us a lot of problem.
Exactly.
Amen, sold.
Right.
I was just gonna say, do you know if it's gonna be an Airbnb?
No, it's a single mom with a young child,
Oh,
and
great.
they're moving sling sets in, and it's
So
gonna
that's
be at
awesome.
home.
Problem
Yeah.
solved for 2024.
Yeah.
Well,
Amen to
so,
that.
well, yeah, but so, obviously nothing happens overnight, right?
No, you know what? It's probably something we should do. The
And it's a
advent of
process.
Airbnbs and
Second-
VRBOs
Third
is
house up
different
on
than
Laurel Lane.
when this community was formed.
And it sounds like the people who own Airbnbs are being very,
They're being
Great.
very cooperative, honestly.
Good.
And I think it's timely to do something in
So,
October.
so
October.
do we agree, this is great, John?
Yes,
And
excellent.
we'll wait till October to see what that statute actually says when it's instituted?
Right.
Okay,
Great.
does everybody agree on that?
I agree because we have no choice but to wait.
Right,
Thank
right.
you, and thank the committee for all your hard
Yeah.
work.
Yes, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
That was a real bone of contention last year.
It was?
And it still is for some people, I think,
Well, no, I think it's a real positive move.
Yeah.
I'm really happy that the legislature felt that was important too.
There's been a lot of activity, Dave,
Yeah.
all around, especially the beach communities.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, well,
Thank you,
John.
John.
Yeah.
Thank
You know,
you so
It's
much.
hard to compete with something. You see commercials all the time on TV for Airbnb.
Yeah,
It's hard to fight against
You
that.
know, that's somebody committee people wanted to, how should I say, penalize anyone who's using VRBO or
Yeah,
Airbnb.
right, yeah, you
And
can't.
that's not where the issue is property owners.
Right.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Good night.
Yeah.
Chris,
You still awake?
Chris, are you
Yeah,
still?
I'm still here. I'm gonna make it quick because I have about 10 people waiting for me.
Okay,
Tennis and pickleball. So don't have a definitive date of when our courts are going to be refurbished, but we're looking towards sometime in mid to late June, but I don't have a definitive date. I do have a definitive date when we're going to do the surface prep for the course, and that's June 1st. So I'm going to get a group together and we're going to clean the courts and do the prep on June 1st. We have several things that we're working on, and there's 2 items that we'd like to get board approval on. And one of them is the nets for the pickleball. We're going to buy 4 in total. They're $460 each. So it's under the $1,000 if we buy one. But in the spirit of the $1,000, I think it's in the totality of what you're going to be buying. So that's going to be almost $1,900. So I'd like to get board approval tonight to buy one of the nets. We did a lot of research. We believe these are the right nets. We have 3 quotes on the nets. Amazon is the cheapest price of $460. We'd like to get one net so we could have at least 3 weeks to 4 weeks before the courts are refurbished to make sure that we're 100% comfortable with these nets before we buy the other 3. So I'd like to get the board approval on to buy one net at $460 tonight, as well as signage. So we're going with new signage. There's more and more people with pets, violating the rules that we have in place today. Almost every morning, we're cleaning up dog poop that's on the pickleball courts now, multiple times. So we are going to buy signage. We'd like to buy signage in June to have it ready for when the courts are refurbished, that the signs will be available to put up as soon as the courts are refurbished. We're not going to put up the new signs until the courts are refurbished because we're so close to the date, as it is today. But it is frustrating that so many of the residents, and yes, there were some things on Facebook, but we all have to agree on what the rules are going to be. So before we get the signs made, I'm going to send them to the Board of Governance for approval. So we have some drafts, we have draft rules, but before we buy the signs, I will send them out to make sure that everyone is comfortable when we say no pets are allowed on the courts and what have you. There's several signs, there's several things that the committee is considering, but I think we all have to feel comfortable, that these courts are primarily going to be used for tennis and pickleball. And if we want them used for something else, then we all have to feel comfortable with that. And we could list on the signs whether the other things that we decide that they can be used for. But right now it's frustrating when you're picking up dog poop on the courts from inconsiderate pet owners. So there's many other things that the teams are working on. Like I said, we have draft rules that are in place, that are drafted, that are ready for the BOG to review. Phil also looked at replacing our lights. The action that we had was to get a quote on how much it would cost to replace the pickleball tennis lights with LEDs and to get a modern timer that is Wi-Fi. So Phil's working on that. I believe he's pretty close to getting that quote. It was a line item in our committee. We're not sure if we could afford that with our current budget. The line item was to look at the quote and see if it's affordable or not. So more to come on that. There's a few other things, but we're working on, but I would like to see if we could get the committee to get the board to allow the committee to buy one pickleball net to ensure that it is the quality and the one that we would like to choose before we buy the other 3. Are there any questions with anything I said?
Just one, and it's just for awareness and clarification, Chris, for everybody. The money that you want to spend on those nets, I just want to make sure that it's clear to everybody that that still is within your not to exceed $33,000 budget that was allocated from the membership. Correct?
That's correct. All of our line items don't, with the exception of the lights, we're under the 33,000.
So the lights.
So that includes the refurbishment that's going to come in. We also are looking at signage, pickleball nets, tennis nets are good. We have a backstop for tennis players, a practice wall. That's also a line item. And so the only thing that we're not sure if it's within budget because we don't have the quote is the lights. But we are under our $33,000 budget as of today.
Does he need approval to spend the
No.
$400? No.
But it's not 400. He was saying it's because it's 2,000 if you add it all
In
up.
totality,
In
but,
totality, right, yeah.
right.
We'll worry about the totality when it happens.
Right,
now
right.
it's the
So,
400, right?
so Chris, yeah, I think Dave's right. Right now,
Yeah.
we don't have to, if you have the $460 that's in that not to exceed $33,000 budget, you go right ahead and do that. Should you buy the three of them or three more after, and that's, and you're, 1,500, then I think that's where you might want to bring it to the board.
Right. Chris, I have one question. What if you don't like the net?
If we don't like the net, there's a backup net. There's two nets that we considered. The one that we're going with is the one that's most predominantly used. It's used at the town hall. It's used at Glastonbury.
Okay.
And some of our other members have used it in other states. So it's the predominant one. There is a backup net. So these nets, there's a wide range of cost associated with these nets. These are medium grade. They're not meant to last forever. We will have to replace the net over time, and that's going to be a line item as we move forward for maintenance, along with a bunch of other maintenance items that we're going to continue to keep this committee alive and look at annual and biannual maintenance cost, as well as when the courts will have to be refurbished again to make them viable. But yeah, it's a medium grade. I mean, we've seen nets that could go up to $2,000 for one net at the professional level, and all the way down to $60 for the most inexpensive net. This is a good outdoor net it's meant to be used in stored outdoors for summer months. It's a good quality net that's used at a lot of the.
That's what I was getting at, Chris. I just wanted to,
So if
Yep.
you don't,
spend $500 for something you don't like it, then you're stuck in it,
So I do agree. I want to make sure that we're all being upfront with, hey, it's $460, but it's really it's really almost $1,900 that I intend to, that the committee intends to spend for the association.
okay, so if you like this one, Chris, then if you feel that, you need to come back and say, okay, now I'm going to spend another $1,500 on nets.
Yeah.
Then bring it to the board and,
I'm sure it'll be no problem.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's within your budget, your not to exceed budget. So-
Okay, so I have the green light to go ahead and buy this net.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is that all you have, Chris?
That's all I have.
Okay,
Good job, Chris.
thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks,
you.
guys.
And just an FYI, budgeting is going to start in the next couple of weeks. So maybe in your next meetings, you might want to start thinking about your maintenance and stuff going forward just a little bit. Just try to plan for that. So they'll be sending out a request to meet with you over the next few months or couple months.
Okay, thanks.
You're
Got it.
welcome. All right. So unfinished business, it was the code of conduct and contract expenditure guidelines. I have received some, but not all. I will put a list together of who I have not received them from. And as far as the board goes, Chris, I'll meet with you to sign ours for the board. But yeah, there are some that have not signed them.
Can I, before you go on to new,
Sure.
I actually called the state DEP in Old Lyme about the state boat launch again because they had not done any repairs to it. And she said they did come in and out and inspect it. And I said, oh, so you're going to retire it? She goes, oh, no, we don't have a PO for that. So I guess they're going to patch it, but then they did not look at the cement barrier at the bottom. So they're going to come back out. Just an FYI.
Okay. Okay. So new business, everybody knows our Pula insurance is coming up. Dave Giroux did an awesome job. I think he sent the analysis to everybody that he did on our main policy. I received some notice of non-renewals. I guess it's SOP. I talked to our agent and that's what he said. I'm going to ask Dave Giroux, who is not here,
I was gonna ask him if he was here, if he would, look into this further. It's a pretty tedious, it's 200 pages. And that's just for the liability policy. There's D&O, there's workers' comp, there's other ones too that aren't as many pages, but,
Right.
you know, he's an analyst and I think, he would do good. So I hope he
I
says
agree.
yes. Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Okay,
Go with the guy with
I don't
the
know.
profession. That's simple.
I'm out.
right. I mean, he said, I'm not a commercial insurance person, but he's an analyst.
As cumbersome as it is, all right, I always remember we were underinsured when we lost the pavilion. So whatever it takes to do it the right way.
Right, and we're insuring a lot of things that there's a $500 deductible. Are they even worth $500?
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. So,
I don't think, when was that sent from Dave Drew?
I don't think I got that.
Yeah.
so he may have just sent it to me.
Yeah.
And
I don't show
I think you
it.
should ask him, and I think take the proper steps.
is everybody in agreement with
Yeah.
asking Dave?
Yep.
Even though he's not here to speak for himself?
Well, you know how it goes. When you're not here, you get a link to do stuff.
Voluntold, right?
Voluntold, right.
And if he says no, then we'll address it then.
Okay. All right. So that, the June association meeting, town hall meeting, just everybody
At the
start thinking
pavilion.
about that.
It's
Town meeting, the June town meeting.
it's just a June association meeting, that's all.
That's,
Good night.
Good night,
Good
thanks.
night. Thank you.
we're still good, and still the quorum. I want to vote on the playground committee formation. But the June associate, I just want everybody to think about that.
Yeah.
Next meeting, we'll kind of settle how that's gonna go.
When is that? What's the date? June 17th?
17th.
That's the public one? On a Monday?
Yeah, so that's the
On a Monday?
that's the non-voting one.
But on a Monday?
Hold on.
No, that's not right. Usually
June
it's not. That's the
17th, no,
board
that's not,
meeting.
it's June 23rd,
Okay.
Yeah, because I leave the next day.
June
Right.
23rd.
The association meeting, right? It's a week, we're like a week before the meeting.
So that's the non-voting one. It's where the.
Yeah, no, I know what it is. I
Okay.
just, I was questioning because the 17th is a Monday.
Mhm.
So I got the answer I was looking for.
Okay. Second Beach Playground Committee formation.
Yes.
Could we, vote
I
on
make a
that?
motion to create a Second Beach Playground Committee.
I second.
Any discussion?
I think you should put it on the famous Facebook. Everybody keeps complaining about it that we.
I did.
Yeah,
I
but you know
couldn't
what?
help it,
We
Jeff.
keep business off of Facebook.
I know.
I'm
I
just
know.
looking for volunteers.
Not the
That's what I
Yeah,
said.
that's not the
Anybody
right
want to vote?
forum.
No,
Not the
No,
Lake
it's not the
Haywood
right forum.
page, no.
So
But the
I will
property
put out an
owners page,
email
yeah.
blast. And I
Yeah.
will ask,
oh, right, I got you, to the association email.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, sure,
um,
even better.
so. Is that it for discussion?
I think so,
Makes
yeah.
sense.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Oh, motion carries. Anybody got another motion?
To do what?
Adjourn.
Meeting.
I gotta make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Second, is that?
All in
Julia's?
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Evelyn, you got cut off.
Is that Julia's house?
That is Lisa's house.
Oh, that's you. Okay.
What's the address?
What, on the 17th?
Yes, 80 Hayfield.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Do you want the average resident to say something to people
Can we
in
shut this meeting down
reports
here?
or
Are you
anything
guys-
like that?
Yeah.
It's okay. Cause I, you know, I've done it maybe twice in 5 years and, you know, I pretty much step back because I don't know if it's